Chapter 654. At the same time, 7 figures suddenly appeared outside the city. They floated in the air and circled around the Ouyang clan's small city. The Ouyang clan's minor restriction array seemed to have recovered, and a faint gray light curtain once again sealed the city. These people's faces couldn't be seen clearly, but since they were able to fly, they were clearly core formation cultivators. 7 core formation cultivators. Not good, Gray Light. They're from the 7 Fiends sect. What are you afraid of? We have 2 late core formation martial uncles. We don't have to be afraid of them. What kind of array is this? Are we trapped? We have the Blood Cloud flying ship. They can't be trapped. Many blood refining sect disciples saw these figures and their expressions changed. But with 2 late core formation cultivators in the sect, they weren't particularly flustered. Of course, there were also a few disciples with sharp eyes. When they saw this scene, they felt a trace of unease in their hearts and secretly hid in the Ouyang clan's restrictions. Lu Kuan also discovered these 7 core formation cultivators. He had the Golden Eye Divine ability. Even if he didn't release his divine sense, he could still roughly see their cultivation. They were all at the mid-core formation stage. Suddenly, one of the core formation cultivators near the northwest side of the city shot a golden light towards Lu Kuan. This golden light directly cut towards Su Zihong, who was in the middle of refining the devil bone. This golden light shot over from a distance. Although it was very fast, it still needed several breaths of time to shoot over from outside the city. Logically speaking, Su Zihong should have been able to dodge it. But Lu Kuan saw that Su Zihong was sweating profusely as if he couldn't move because of the technique he was casting. Lu Kuan narrowed his eyes and his magic power surged. 2 fire hammers rushed out and blocked the golden light's path. But they were immediately sent flying by the golden light, and cracks appeared on the magic tools. Lu Kuan's face paled and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He staggered and fell to the ground. Just as Su Zihong was about to be hit by the golden light, a black light curtain appeared around Su Zihong. The incomparably sharp golden light bombarded the black light curtain, creating a fierce collision. After a short while, the golden light completely dissipated. Next to Su Zihong, a fat man wearing a black robe appeared. This man's body surged with the mana of the intermediate stage of the core formation stage. However, Lu Kuan could faintly sense that this man's aura was not as simple as that of the core formation stage. The fat man glanced at Lu Kuan, who was lying on the ground, and threw a talisman at him. Kid, this thick earth origin shield technique talisman? Take it and find a place to hide. Thank you, martial uncle. Lu Kuan got this talisman. After respectfully thanking him, he immediately rushed to the house with the restriction around 300 meters away. The man who shot out the golden light had a faint smile on his face. His voice came from afar. I didn't expect the famous Fei Mozi to personally protect him. This disciple with a dark spiritual root is indeed highly valued by your blood-refining sect. The fat man, who was called Fei Mozi, did not pay attention to the other party's words. Demonic light flashed in his hand, and the light that enveloped Su Zihong spread out in a circle. It covered Su Zihong, who was in the middle of refining, along with the soil on the ground. Then, he brought Su Zihong to the center of the city, where Gu Hun and the Fong clan's ancestor were. The man from the 7 Fiends sect shook his head and muttered, "Why bother? You are already cornered, beast. Why don't you just stay here obediently and let us kill you?" At this moment, a pitch-black flying dagger flashed in front of the man from the 7 Fiends sect. Its speed was extremely strange. The man's expression changed drastically. The extreme devil old ghost? After all, he was a cultivator of the intermediate stage of the core formation stage. His reaction was not slow at all. He opened his mouth and spat out a round gray iron ball. The ball was densely covered with runes, and a murderous aura rushed towards him. The pitch-black flying dagger hit the gray ball and scattered it into countless gray threads. Then, the flying dagger reversed and avoided the entanglement of the gray threads. With a whoosh, the pitch-black flying dagger sank into the body of a skinny old man. This old man seemed to have appeared out of thin air. His magic power was profound, and he was also a cultivator of the intermediate stage of the core formation stage. Gold Thug, you've become much smarter. You actually hid the gray ball in your mouth, the skinny old man said calmly. This cultivator from the Seven Fiends sect called Gold Thug looked at the skinny old man with hatred. Very good. I didn't think that you, the extreme devil old ghost, would secretly protect that kid. The heavens are on my side. This time, I will definitely kill you. The skinny old man glanced towards the northwest and shook his head. Don't think that just because all of you Seven Fiends are here, you can deal with 2 intermediate stage and 2 late stage core formation cultivators. I hope you can defend against my next attack. With that, the skinny old man turned into a streak of black light and charged into the depths of the city. His aura of the intermediate stage core formation stage disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. It was as if he had evaporated. Seeing this, Gold Thug's expression was extremely ugly. Gold Thug, don't worry about the extreme devil old ghost. Shwesha will deal with him. Let's completely activate the Black Fiend formation first. Not far away, a tall young man transmitted his voice to Gold Thug. Gold Thug gritted his teeth and nodded. With that, a formation plate appeared in his hand. Streams of dermic powers were injected into it. Not only him, but the other 6 people surrounding the city also took out similar formation plate. As they cast their dermic powers, a gray cover became darker and darker. The entire city also became dark. Bone Soul had just calmed the chaotic dermic powers in his body when he saw the city being covered by a light screen. It's the Black Fiend formation. His expression was ugly. Fong Lei, I, Bone Soul, owe you a favor. Old man, you didn't run away on your own. You even came back to inform me. Fong Lei drank a mouthful of gourd water and coughed twice. If this old man was young, I would definitely run away first. But now that I don't have much time left, I might as well let you owe me a favor. Fong Lei looked at the fat figure that had just flown over and Suzy Hong, who was shrouded in black light. He continued, the situation isn't that bad. The Supreme Demon and the Fat Demon are also here. We might be able to fight. Bone Soul narrowed his eyes and stared at the Fat Demon. He said coldly, Fat Demon, what are you and the extreme devil old ghost doing? You've been hiding. I didn't even notice you. And as core formation cultivators, you're protecting a foundation establishment kid. Could it be that this kid really has the dark spirit root that Gold Thug mentioned? Although Bone Soul was calming his dermic powers, his divine sense was outside and he heard Gold Thug's words. The Fat Demon trembled and said casually, this kid is someone that the Great Elder wants to protect. If you have any questions, you can ask the Great Elder. Hearing the Great Elder's name, Gu Mo's eyes were filled with fear. He paused for a moment and then said, since you're following the Great Elder's orders, you must have some special means. I just used a secret technique, so I can't use the Soul Gathering Banner for the time being. I can't use its full strength. Don't hold back in the upcoming battle. The Fat Demon shook his head and said carelessly, although the Extreme Devil and I have some strength, we have no chance of winning against the 7 demons of the 7 Demon sect. However, our survival methods are not bad. Even if you die, we can survive. Bone Soul was furious. Okay, stop arguing. Get ready to fight. Fong Lei said in a low voice. We'll do our best to make our opponents reveal their weaknesses and create opportunities for the Extreme Devil. Only by killing one of the 7 demons can we survive. Bone Soul took a deep breath. He knew that Fong Lei was right. Although the 7 demons were only in the middle core formation stage, with their secret techniques, they could even fight against nascent soul cultivators. Chapter 655. A dark golden bowl appeared in Gu Hun's hand. He looked at the black light shield behind Fei Mo and said, But then again, how do we deal with this kid? Fei Mo ignored Gu Hun and looked at Fong Lei. He said politely, I'll have to trouble senior apprentice brother Fong. Only senior apprentice brothers Qian Kun Gord can temporarily store cultivators. Fong Lei shook his walking stick and coughed lightly. Since it's a disciple that the great elder wants to protect, I naturally have no problem with it. However, my gourd can only house a living person for 4 hours. I'm afraid we haven't finished the battle yet. Fei Mo saw several figures flying over. 2 magic treasures the size of watermelons appeared in front of him. He said casually, There's no other way. We'll stall for as long as we can. A bright light flashed through Fong Lei's turbid eyes, as if he had understood something. He patted the yellow gourd on his walking stick, and a white light shot out from the mouth of the gourd, sucking Suzy Hong and the item he was refining into it. Haha, you 3 guys are in trouble, and you still have the mind to protect this disciple. It seems he is really important to the blood refining sect. Our 7 Fiends sect didn't waste our efforts. Fong Lei's face was expressionless. He looked at the 6-7 Fiends sect members and asked, It sounds like the Ouyang family is a trap set by your 7 Fiends sect? Of course we are. Gold Thug said proudly. But he was interrupted by the tall man next to him. Humph, old man, you want to stall for time? You're better off being confused, ghost. With that said, the 6-7 evil spirits summoned their magic treasures and attacked the 3 core formation stage cultivators of the blood refining school. In an instant, all kinds of violent energy overflowed and bombarded the city below. Only 6-7 Fiends sect members were fighting with Gu Hun. The last 7 Fiends sect member was nowhere to be seen. In a house in the northwest of the city, Lu Kuan held a talisman in his left hand and a red hammer in his right hand. His right hand was holding a fiery red sledgehammer, and he looked nervously at the temporary restriction at the door of the house. Other than him, there was also a voluptuous woman in revealing clothes. It was Bai Jia. However, at this moment, Bai Jia no longer had her previous charming posture. Instead, she was leaning against the wall. Her bright eyes were filled with anxiety and panic, making people want to hold her in their arms and cherish her. After a while, Bai Jia said with trembling teeth, Junior apprentice brother Zhang, you said the 7 Fiends sect members set up a restriction and sealed the city? Lu Kuan did not turn his head. He continued looking at the door and said casually, That's right. When I was escaping, I heard the other disciples talking about the 7 demons of the 7 demons sect. Bai Jia became more frightened. Fiends, 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 you didn't hear that right. Lu Kuan pointed at the restriction at the door and said, They seem to be fighting with our martial uncles. You can go out and take a look. Bai Jia took 2 steps back. Her eyes were a bit sluggish. If the core formation realm enemy is the 7 evil spirits, martial uncles most likely won't be a match for them. Only death awaits us. Lu Kuan's eyes flashed with golden light. He secretly used his golden eyes to observe the battle outside. Hearing Bai Jia's words, he couldn't help but turn around. Senior apprentice Sister Bai, there are 2 late core formation stage martial uncles who came with us. Plus, there's Fei Mo martial uncle. It's not certain who will win. Bai Jia looked at Zhang Yang's fearless face and felt envious of his ignorance. She took a deep breath and calmed the fear in her heart. She said slowly, Junior apprentice brother, have you heard of the 7 Fiends Demon Lord? Lu Kuan said matter-of-factly, Of course I have. How could I not have heard of the 7 Fiends sect's famous nascent soul stage cultivators? It's said that although the 7 of them are only early nascent soul stage cultivators, they can defeat late nascent soul stage cultivators if they work together. Are the 7 Fiends related to the 7 Fiends Demon Lord? Bai Jia said, That's right. The 7 Fiends Demon Lord is the next 7 Fiends Demon Lord. Doesn't that mean the 7 of them are future nascent soul stage cultivators? Bai Jia shook her head and said, It's not that easy to enter the nascent soul stage. However, every generation of the Seven Fiends sect has a Seven Fiends demon lord and a late nascent soul stage cultivator. I don't know if there's some kind of secret technique. Bai Jie slapped her forehead. You've changed the topic. In terms of cultivation, it's not that bad. The Seven Fiends Demon Lord's joint attack technique is terrifying. Lu Kuan was enlightened. He mumbled, the Seven Fiends Demon Lord can defeat late nascent soul stage cultivators with his early nascent soul stage cultivation. The Seven Fiends Demon Lord can defeat early nascent soul stage cultivators with their mid-core formation stage cultivation. Bai Jie looked at the restriction at the door nervously and said, that's right. Although the two uncles are both late core formation stage cultivators, they are still far from nascent soul stage cultivators. If the Seven Fiends Demon Lord can defeat early nascent soul stage cultivators, it's easy for them to defeat the uncles. Bai Jie suddenly raised her eyebrows and asked in confusion, that's right. Junior Martial Brother Zhang, how did you know that the Seven Fiends Demon Lord are all in the middle core formation stage? Lu Kuan said calmly, of course I heard it from Martial Uncle Fei Mo. Look, he even gave me a talisman with the thick earth essence shield technique. It might even save my life. As he spoke, Lu Kuan proudly showed the talisman in his hand. Thick earth essence shield technique. It can block a casual attack from a core formation stage cultivator. Bai Jie's eyes lit up. She couldn't help but lean towards Lu Kuan and say in a soft voice, Junior Martial Brother, we're living under the same roof. You won't abandon me, right? Lu Kuan quickly turned his head and took a step back. He said with a frightened expression, Senior Martial Sister, please spare me. I have to tighten my divine sense at all times when I'm in the same room with you. I don't want to end up like those two guys. As he spoke, Lu Kuan pointed at the two dried corpses in the corner of the room. Bai Jie's expression was slightly embarrassed. She threw out two fireballs and burned the dried corpses in the corner to ashes. She let out a hollow laugh and her tone returned to normal. Junior Martial Brother, the thick earth essence shield technique's defensive area isn't small. It's more than enough to cover the two of us. Lu Kuan waved his hand. Senior Martial Sister, you're the one who brought me into the sect. If there's any danger, the thick earth essence shield technique will naturally cover you. Bai Jie was overjoyed and quickly thanked him. She looked at Lu Kuan's fierce-looking face with a smile. Even the scar on his face was much more pleasing to the eye. Lu Kuan cautiously looked outside and said, Senior Martial Sister, what other information do you know about the Seven Fiends? Why don't you tell me everything? Bai Jie heard the faint sounds of battle outside and moved closer to Lu Kuan. She leaned her back against the wall and crossed her slender and fair legs as she sat on the ground. She slowly said, What's the matter? Actually, Junior Martial Brother can find all the information about the Seven Fiends sect in the scripture cave in the sect. It's very detailed. The Tao names of the Seven Fiends are fixed. They are Gold Fiend, Wood Fiend, Water Fiend, Fire Fiend, Earth Fiend, Soul Fiend, and Blood Fiend. The top 5 seem to require the aptitude of dual spirit roots or above. Rumor has it that a few of the Seven Fiends even have heavenly spirit root. As for the aptitude requirements of the Soul Fiend and Blood Fiend, I'm not sure. Only those who meet the requirements can cultivate the Seven Fiends' True Devil technique. By relying on the Seven Fiends' True Devil technique, they can cooperate with each other and unleash a huge joint attack. Lu Kuan listened to Bai Jie's description while observing the battle outside. He suddenly realized that there were only 6 Seven Fiends who had joined the battle outside. They were still suppressing Bone Soul and the other 2. He thought to himself, looks like it's really the Seven Fiends. He asked again, if there are only 6 of them, will the Seven Fiends not be able to unleash their joint attack? Bai Jie was slightly surprised and then said, according to the sect's records, the more the Seven Fiends have, the more powerful their joint attack will be. If 7 of them can deal with a nascent soul cultivator, then the remaining 6 should be weaker. Lu Kuan was puzzled. Why isn't one of the 7 fiends participating in the battle? That's right, after I left, another core formation cultivator who was protecting Su Zihong also appeared. However, he quickly hid in the city. It seems that the 7 fiends want to capture him. Then Lu Kuan's expression suddenly changed. Oh no! When the 7 fiends are searching, they will definitely kill the Foundation establishment disciples of the blood refining sect. Chapter 656. Through the restriction, Lu Kuan saw a girl with short hair and a round face. She was floating above a collapsed building not far away. She looked harmless and very cute. She wore a long black dress and a long whip that emitted a gray light circled around her petite body. Lu Kuan clearly saw that it was this long whip that had just shot out a magical weapon light that had shattered the house and easily killed the 2 Foundation establishment disciples of the blood refining sect. After destroying the building, the girl's eyes emitted a gray light. She looked around the buildings in the city and a sweet child's voice came out from her mouth. Old devil GMO, there's no need to hide. You should know that my Shui Sha's eye technique can completely capture your escape light. I noticed you the moment you appeared and found that your escape light didn't go far and landed in this area. After the girl finished speaking, she saw that there was no reaction nearby. She coldly snorted and said with her childish voice full of killing intent, "Wait until I flatten this area. I don't believe you won't come out." The girl's childish voice contained magic power. Even the restriction here couldn't block it. All the blood refining sect disciples hiding nearby heard it. Of course, Bai Jie also heard it. She muttered the 2 words, Shui Sha, with a dull expression. Shui Sha, it's really the 7 evil spirits. Shui Sha, who was 100 feet away, seemed to have sensed something. His gray eyes looked towards Lu Kuan's building. Lu Kuan immediately lowered his head. He was furious. Damn it, this Shui Sha wants to flatten the nearby buildings and attack me. That's going to be troublesome. This talisman in my hand? At most, it can block the attack of a core formation cultivator's magic treasure. Is he going to force me to make a move? If that's the case, my efforts to infiltrate the blood refining sect will be wasted. Plus, I don't have enough combat power right now. I can deal with a core formation intermediate stage cultivator, but there are so many core formation cultivators outside. I don't have the confidence to escape. Just as Lu Kuan was worried, Bai Jie's soft and tender body leaned against him. She said with a pitiful voice, "Junior Marshal Brother Zhang, what should we do? Shui Sha wants to flatten us. Junior Marshal Brother, why don't you use that talisman? Give it to me." Senior Marshal Sister's magic power is profound. It can unleash even greater power. As she spoke, Bai Jie's delicate little hand touched Lu Kuan's arm. Lu Kuan ignored Bai Jie. His expression suddenly changed, and with a flash of light in his hand, he activated the Earth Primary Shield technique. A round yellow shield enveloped Lu Kuan and the others. Just as he finished doing all this, a surge of spiritual pressure appeared above their house. With a rumble, the restriction outside the house was directly shattered. Gray spiritual light descended from the sky and directly bombarded the thick Earth Origin Shield technique. The surging power caused the thick shield to dim by more than half. There's actually a top-notch talisman? Body protection? The disciples of the blood refining sect are filthy rich, aren't they? The young child's voice sounded again with a hint of surprise. Shui Sha's figure appeared in front of Lu Kuan's shield that was about to shatter and clicked her tongue. Although she had only used the spiritual light of her magic treasure to shatter the house's restriction, the remaining power wasn't much. However, it wasn't something a Foundation establishment cultivator could resist. Bai Jie was so frightened by the core formation cultivator's pressure that she fell to the ground. Lu Kuan was half kneeling with a heavy expression. His hands gradually clenched into fists and the muscles on his legs began to tighten. His spiritual sense locked onto the purple-black staff in his storage pouch. Looking at the situation, it seemed he had no choice but to make a move. At such a close distance, with the power of a body cultivator, he might be able to kill them in one strike. Shueisha's hand flashed with spiritual light, and the gray whip around her body became taut. She lashed out at Lu Kuan and Bai Jie's Earth Origin Shield technique. The pressure of a mid-core formation cultivator's magic treasure was enough to make one's heart palpitate even through the defensive shield. Suddenly, Lu Kuan's golden eyes seemed to have discovered something. He loosened his fists and gave up on the idea of personally making a move. He threw out 7 or 8 magic tools, including 2 fire hammers. When Bai Jie saw this, her eyes flashed with extreme reluctance. She had just obtained a top-notch secret technique and hadn't used it to its full potential yet. She didn't want to give it up. Thus, Bai Jie also grabbed her storage pouch and threw out a pile of talismans. They were all mid-grade talismans? There were both offensive and defensive talismans. She wanted to share the power of a core formation cultivator. With a boom, the Earth Origin Shield technique was broken. Many talismans? The spell and Lu Kuan's pair of fire hammers were also destroyed by the whip magic treasure. In the end, the remaining power of the magic treasure bombarded Lu Kuan and Bai Jie's magic power shields, sending them flying hundreds of feet away. The Foundation Establishment cultivator's shield was broken, and it was unknown whether they were dead or alive. Extreme devil, old devil. Shueisha's expression suddenly changed. The black dress around her body was suddenly torn to shreds, turning into a huge black shield that enveloped her body. A pitch-black flying knife seemed to appear out of thin air and hit the black shield, creating a gap. However, it was immediately entangled by the returning gray whip. Shueisha, who was inside the shield, had a look of lingering fear. Just as she activated her magic treasure, the extreme devil suddenly attacked with the flying knife magic treasure that didn't have any fluctuations. Fortunately, Shueisha didn't let down her guard. She was always on guard. Previously, she only used a small portion of her magic treasure's power to attack. That was why she activated her defense at the crucial moment and blocked the sneak attack. You're indeed cunning, old devil. However, as long as you show yourself, you won't be able to hide and escape. Although my escape technique isn't as good as yours, this city is too small. I won't lose you. Shueisha spat out a mouthful of turbid air. She looked at the skinny old man with a serious expression. The extreme devil floated about 100 feet away. He expressionlessly controlled the flying knife to attack the gray whip. Shueisha's whip magic treasure emitted several gray threads from time to time. In addition to the flexible whip, it tried to entangle the flying knife. The extreme devil slowly said, "You 7 fiends really think highly of this old man. You'd rather waste the super-strong fighting power of the 7 of you to entangle me." Shueisha revealed a trace of fear and said, "In the kingdom of Qi, who doesn't know how difficult it is to deal with you, the extreme devil? If the 7 of us join forces, we can quickly end the battle. However, our divine senses will decrease. You might succeed in your sneak attack. Also, who doesn't know about your ability to escape? Even with our 7 fiends formation, you can still escape with your life. We didn't expect that the blood-refining sect would send you to protect that little fellow with a dark spiritual root." The extreme devil raised his eyebrows. He noticed that the speed of the whip had decreased. It was only entangling his flying knife. It didn't have the intention of seeking instant success like before. He immediately understood the other party's intention. He said indifferently, "You 7 fiends are all out. Is it to deal with the Foundation Establishment brat that this old man is protecting?" When Shueisha saw that the extreme devil started to ask questions, she knew that he had no intention of fighting. She was also happy to stall for time. The 6 fiends could also deal with the enemy if they joined forces. She said, "You should know that this brat has a dark spiritual root." The extreme devil raised his eyebrows. "Even if he has a dark spiritual root, it's not worth all 7 of you to come out. The Ouyang family seems to be your bait. A black light flashed outside Shueisha's body. She once again wore a black dress that shone with spiritual light. She coldly said, "A dark spiritual root isn't worth our effort. However, we must eliminate someone with a dark spiritual root who cultivates the blood demon technique. Old Fiend Pang has a dark spiritual root. After entering the late nascent soul stage with the blood demon technique, his strength is almost equivalent to two great cultivators. The amplification of the blood demon technique by the dark spiritual root is far greater than other technique. This brat must be killed in the cradle." The extreme devil's eyes flashed. He also knew that the dark spiritual root could amplify demonic technique. However, he didn't expect it to amplify the blood demon technique even more. He also didn't know that not only did the Great Elder have a dark spiritual root, he could actually match two existences of the same level. Didn't that mean that in a one-on-one battle, the Great Elder could completely kill other great cultivators? Chapter 657. Shueisha clenched his teeth and said, "We, the Seven Fiends sect, will not let a second old devil Pang appear. With you and Fei-Mo, who are both in the intermediate stage of the completion core stage, we are even more certain that this brat is the next successor of old devil Pang." The Supreme Devil glanced at the gray light curtain outside the city and frowned. "What I don't understand is that the Seven Fiends array needs to be set up in advance. The Ouyang clan is undoubtedly your pawn, but why are you so confident that this disciple with the dark spirit root will come here?" Shueisha glanced at the three people from the blood refining sect who were in imminent danger and smiled. "Do you know why the blood refining sect wants to destroy the Ouyang clan?" The Supreme Devil casually controlled the flying dagger magic weapon, as if he didn't care about the danger of his fellow disciples. He replied, "I heard that a traitor of our sect was ordered by the Ouyang clan to steal an important pill recipe. He touched the bottom line, so we naturally want to destroy his clan." Shueisha said, "This pill recipe is the recipe for the blood spirit pill." The Supreme Devil raised his eyebrows. "Blood spirit pill? As far as I know, the blood spirit pill is only used for the blood demon technique. What use does the Ouyang clan have for it?" Shueisha smiled mysteriously. "It seems you don't know that the blood spirit pill has been around since ancient times. Its biggest use was to activate the demon marrow body." The Supreme Devil's pupils shrank. The demon marrow body, the legendary top physique that allows one to cultivate all kinds of demonic techniques? Yes, the demon marrow body is an invisible physique. Before it appears, it has almost no effect. There are only two ways to activate it: either soak in the true demon pool or take the blood spirit pill. Hearing this, the Supreme Devil suddenly remembered Elder Qian's instructions before they left. He and Fei-Mo had to ensure that Suzy Hong successfully refined the corpse of an Ouyang clan disciple. No matter what happened, they had to wait until the spell was cast. Now, combined with Shueisha's words, the Supreme Devil quickly reacted. "The Ouyang clan wants the blood spirit pill. The elders of our sect can naturally infer that the Ouyang clan has the demon marrow body. The demon marrow body is your bait. Then," he asked doubtfully, "but what does the demon marrow body have to do with the dark spirit root?" Shueisha chuckled. "Of course, it has nothing to do with the dark spiritual root. It has something to do with the blood demon technique. The devil marrow body is the best elixir for those who cultivate the first 3 layers of the blood demon art. As long as you refine and absorb it, your cultivation speed will increase dramatically. Therefore, we are certain that old Devil Pang will definitely arrange for this disciple with dark spiritual roots to come over. 4 Foundation Establishment Disciples, your blood refining sect will at most arrange for core formation cultivators to protect them." When the Supreme Devil heard this, his small eyes were filled with shock. "Your 7 Fiends sect actually understands the characteristics of the blood demon arts so well that you're willing to sacrifice your devil marrow body." Shueisha covered his mouth and laughed. Our sect naturally has done some research on the blood demon technique. As for that Ouyang clan disciple, even if he has activated the devil marrow physique, he only has 4 spirit veins aptitude and is unable to cultivate our sect's devil Dao divine arts. Since it can't be used by our sect, we can't let others benefit from it. We might as well use it as bait to catch the big fish of your blood-refining sect. Shueisha's eyes narrowed and his childish voice was filled with joy. I didn't expect that in addition to the target, we would also be able to eliminate several core formation cultivators of the blood-refining sect. Our sect only lost a dispensable chess piece like the Ouyang clan. This is a good deal. With you dead, we will have one less opponent in the Yuan sect's secret territory 20 years later. The Supreme Devil's expression was somewhat complicated. He didn't expect the Seven Fiends sect to set such a big trap for a Foundation establishment disciple. They even managed to encircle several core formation cultivators. The Seven Fiends sect clearly knew that once Ma Fei agreed to the Ouyang clan's request, he would activate the Oath Stone. However, they still deliberately allowed the Ouyang clan to do so. They wanted the blood-refining sect to investigate the Ouyang clan. The blood-refining sect followed the vine to the melon and quickly determined that the Ouyang clan had the devil marrow physique. The nascent soul elders in the sect naturally knew that the devil marrow physique was an opportunity for blood demon arts cultivators. Therefore, they arranged for Su Zihong, who had the most potential, to follow the group. The Supreme Devil and Fei Mo were secretly sent to protect him. The goal was to allow Su Zihong to smoothly refine the devil marrow physique and thus speed up his cultivation of the blood demon arts. However, they didn't expect that the Ouyang clan's devil marrow physique was a bait set by the Seven Fiends sect. The city here had long been secretly set up by the Seven Fiends formation. The timing of the Seven Fiends sect's ambush was also very subtle. It was when Gu Hun was refining the mid-core formation Divine Soul. Gu Hun's technique was interrupted and he couldn't use the Luo Soul banner. He couldn't summon the mid-core formation Evil Ghost either. His strength was greatly reduced. Therefore, the 6 Seven Fiends sect members completely suppressed the Fei Mo, Fong Lei and Gu Hun. The Supreme Devil glanced at the battle in the sky again and said faintly, "The Seven Fiends sect is indeed powerful. We admit defeat. However, Shueisha, are you so sure that I won't go all out and kill you first?" Shueisha said cautiously, "Supreme Devil, your senior and junior apprentice brothers have all unleashed their gold core source power. They won't be able to hold on for long. If you waste a lot of your Fali here, I'm afraid you won't be able to escape from the Seven Fiends formation." The Supreme Devil shook his head and revealed a smile that wasn't a smile. "The Seven Fiends sect underestimates my blood-refining sect too much. I don't know if you've ever thought about why my sect didn't directly send experts to kidnap the devil marrow physique. Could it be that we really want to let that brat gain experience?" Shueisha's mouth opened slightly. He faintly thought of a possibility and his face became extremely pale. At this moment, Supreme Devil's black throwing knife that was tangled with the gray whip returned and entered his body. Then, his withered body suddenly swelled and became sturdy. The old man's face was like a withered tree that had been rejuvenated. He turned into a middle-aged man in his 30s. His aura suddenly increased, and he was no weaker than a late core formation cultivator. He reached out with his right hand and 3 pitch black throwing knives appeared. Each one was exactly the same as the previous one. The 3 throwing knives slowly rotated and a murderous intent floated in the air. When Shueisha saw the 3 flying daggers, she immediately came back to her senses. She withdrew her whip and screamed, "Extreme Devil, you're crazy. You directly used the Xianming 3 extreme blades. Aren't you afraid that your magic power will be greatly damaged and you'll die here?" The younger Supreme Devil didn't speak. The demonic energy in his body became even more turbulent. The 3 throwing knives circled around him before entering his body and shooting out from his hand. The throwing knives that came out from the Supreme Devil's body glowed with black light and almost formed a line. They were like black lightning that rushed towards the enemy in front of him. Shueisha's reaction was very fast. When the Supreme Devil made his move, she immediately split the gray whip into more than 30 pieces. They circled around her body and emitted a dense gray light. They weaved into an egg-shaped shield and protected her inside. Dang, dang, dang. Just as she finished doing all this, the 3 throwing knives carried the power of a peak mid-stage core formation cultivator and bombarded the whip's defense. Unlike the previous attacks, the flying dagger returned to Supreme Devil's body after hitting its target. Then, it shot out from Supreme Devil's right hand. Just like that, the 3 throwing knives flew back and forth between the Supreme Devil and Shueisha. Shueisha was suppressed by such a powerful attack and couldn't dodge. She couldn't use any other methods and could only defend. As the throwing knives continued to attack, the gray whip's defensive spirit light was strong but quickly dissipated. Shueisha's eyes flashed with anger. She silently chanted and dense black mist poured out from her body to replenish the defensive spirit light. The air was filled with a demonic aura. Shueisha coldly said, "Supreme Devil, my Shueisha's spirit light specializes in corrupting magic treasures. If you have the ability, continue attacking." The middle-aged Supreme Devil didn't move at all. The corner of his mouth curled up and he revealed an evil intent. "Shueisha, you probably haven't seen the true power of my mysterious underworld 3 extreme blades. The more these 3 throwing knives circulate in my body, the more compatible they become. Their power will gradually increase." Shueisha probed with his divine sense and discovered that with the successive attacks of the 3 flying daggers, the black light gradually connected into a piece, faintly showing signs of forming a flying dagger. Carefully sensing, the power of each attack was getting stronger and stronger. The next moment, the 3 throwing knives came out of the Supreme Devil's body, and they had fused into one. Compared to before, this throwing knife had shrunk by more than half. The black light on it was very deep, as if it was absorbing the surrounding air. The pressure on it made Shueisha's heart tremble. Chapter 658. Just as Shueisha was in danger, a faint whistling sound came from the distance. A round shield the size of a well flew over from the battlefield in the sky. However, it was too far away and couldn't make it in time. Supreme Demon revealed a mocking expression. "Shueisha, you underestimate me too much. How can a mere 7 demons be my opponent? Talking with you for so long was just to stall for time. The strongest form of the Xianming 3 extreme blades has killed 3 late-stage core formation cultivators. Dying to it isn't a disgrace to the name of the 7 demons." As he spoke, the flying blade pierced through Shueisha's magic treasure defense. The thick layer of light was pierced through like it was nothing. There was a shrill scream and the Xianming 3 extreme blades flew out. They turned back into 3 flying blades and entered Supreme Demon's body. Supreme Demon's face was a bit pale. He raised his brow as if he sensed something. He looked at Shueisha in shock. "You actually have the Calamity substitution spell." As he spoke, Shueisha's shield shattered, revealing a woman with a pale face. Her left arm was gone and most of her aura had dissipated. The situation was critical. Shueisha didn't expect Supreme Demon's Xianming 3 extreme blades to be so terrifying. If she hadn't used a secret technique to block the attack with her arm, she would have died. Even if she survived, her vitality would be greatly damaged and she wouldn't be able to resist. Just then, the round shield finally arrived before Shueisha and protected her. It released a dense earth attribute aura. Its defense was clearly very high. Supreme Demon frowned. "Kuei Earth Shield, Earth Demon." It turned out that a tall man was flying over from the distance. It was Earth Demon of the 7 demons. He was proficient in earth attribute techniques and his magic treasure was the Kuei Earth Shield. Supreme Demon sighed regretfully. He had forcefully attacked Shueisha's blood energy. Although the Xianming 3 extreme blades were powerful, the blood energy wasn't normal either. It damaged its spirituality. Adding on the fact that Earth Demon had arrived, he had lost the chance to kill Xuesha. He couldn't maintain this state for too long, so he had to hurry and help his fellow sect members. Xuesha's vitality was greatly damaged. The 7 demons could only team up with 6 people at most. He had achieved his goal. When Xuesha saw Earth Sha arrive, her expression relaxed and she fainted. With her cultivation, it was too strenuous for her to use such a life-saving secret technique. The Supreme Devil silently glanced at them and did not attack again. He turned into a black streak of light and shot towards the battlefield in the sky. The Supreme Devil, who had transformed into a middle-aged man, had an aura that was almost at the late core formation stage. His speed was even faster, and in the blink of an eye, he was already near the battlefield in the sky. Previously, the mysterious underworld 3 extreme blades had a frightening aura. The 5-7 evil spirits in the sky had naturally observed this scene and were extremely fearful of the extreme devil. When they saw him shooting over, their movements paused. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Fei Mo and the others activated their magic weapons with all their might, forcing the 5 evils to retreat, allowing the extreme devil's escape light to meet with them smoothly. When the 5 fiends saw this, they stopped instead. Earth Fiend had gone to rescue Blood Fiend. They only had 5 people working together, so their strength had dropped a little. On the other hand, their opponents were now 4 people, and there was an additional Supreme Demon with astonishing attack power. They simply stopped and waited for Earth Fiend to return. In addition, Fei Mo and the other 2 had all activated the origin power of their Jindan. After the time passed, they would enter a weakened state. Stalling for time was advantageous for them. Fei Mo was sweating profusely. His robe was already soaked. This was the strange part of his cultivation method. The more his spiritual power surged, the more he sweated. When he saw the Supreme Devil come over, he became excited and transmitted his voice. Supreme Devil, you used the Supreme Devil True Body and the mysterious Underworld 3 Extreme Blades. What about Blood Fiend? The Supreme Devil transmitted his voice. She didn't die. However, her vitality was greatly damaged. At most, she can only use the 6 evils together. She can't use the power of the nascent soul stage. On the side, Fong Lei was fine. He had some understanding of the Supreme Devil's true strength and was not particularly shocked. However, when he saw Fei Mo's joy and the Supreme Devil's calmness, he suddenly thought of something and his eyes were filled with anticipation. It seemed that this was the first time Gu Mo had seen the Supreme Devil's strongest state. Fear appeared in his eyes. The power of the mysterious Underworld 3 Extreme Blades just now shocked him greatly. After hearing the Supreme Devil's words, the fat on Fei Mo's face trembled. He licked his lips and transmitted his voice to everyone. Hee, I didn't think we would catch such a big fish as the 7 evils. Senior Apprentice Brother Fong, an hour has passed. You can let Suzy Hong out now. Fong Lei's expression was strange. We are all injured now. Junior Apprentice Brother Supreme Devil can't maintain his true body for too long. What's the use of letting this kid out? The Supreme Devil transmitted his voice. Senior Apprentice Brother Fong, don't worry. Elder Qian told me and Fei Mo that Suzy Hong's magic item can completely turn the situation around. Fong Lei remembered that this kid was someone the Grand Elder wanted to protect. Thus, he nodded and patted the gourd on his waist. There was a flash of spiritual light and Suzy Hong appeared in front of everyone with a dazed expression. Fei Mo hurriedly said, Kid, quickly take out the bloodthirsty bead. Suzy Hong was stunned. Feeling the unfathomable spiritual power of these people, he obediently took out the red bead in his hand. At this time, the bloodthirsty bead had become ordinary. However, under the careful inspection of the completion stage cultivators, their spiritual consciousness could vaguely feel a sense of oppression. Seeing this, the Supreme Devil immediately took out a black bead of the same size. He formed a seal and threw it towards the bloodthirsty bead. After a while, the earth evils returned to the air with an ugly expression. He glared at the Supreme Devil. He had just stabilized the blood evil's injuries and knew that they were very serious. He had temporarily lost his ability to fight. Supreme Devil, you are courting death. When your secret technique disappears, you won't be able to escape. Only death awaits you. The corner of the Supreme Devil's lips curled up. Looking at the furious earth evils, his spiritual energy decreased instead of increasing. His body also became haggard. At this time, he had turned back into a skinny old man. Earth evils, I should say that you are the ones who will die. As he finished speaking, an illusory figure suddenly appeared on the bloodthirsty bead behind him. It swallowed the black bead in one gulp. This was a bald middle-aged man. His eyes were crimson red. His entire body emitted the aura of a superior. All the completion stage cultivators nearby felt an invisible pressure that made it hard for them to breathe. Seeing this figure, Gu-hun was shocked. Grand Elder! The bald middle-aged man's illusory figure was the Grand Elder of the blood-refining sect, Old Devil Pang. He looked around and laughed. Supreme Devil, you are not bad. You didn't waste my demonic seed bead. As expected, the Seven Evils sect is behind this. The Earth Evil's pupils shrunk. He screamed, not good. It's Old Devil Pang's demonic seed splitting technique. Run. Then, he suppressed the fear in his heart and turned into a ray of light with the others. They shot towards the distance. Humph, since I've encountered you, it's too late to leave. Then, Old Devil Pang's illusory figure looked at Fong Lei and said, Little Fong, your lifespan is almost up. Lend this body to me. If you don't die after this, go to the treasury and get a Longyan pill. Fong Lei was overjoyed. He agreed without hesitation. He only had 3 years left in his lifespan. The Longyan pill could extend his lifespan by 20 years. He had profited greatly. Thus, Old Devil Pang's illusory figure entered Fong Lei's body. A surge of nascent soul cultivators arose. Fong Lei's haggard body gradually straightened. His eyes also turned red. Old Devil Pang's illusory figure used his body to display the power of a nascent soul cultivator. He said coldly, Capture the blood fiend below. I will go and kill the 7 evils. Chapter 659. Fei-mo, GMO, and Gu-hun were completely relieved when they saw their Grand Elder's avatar. With his peak late nascent soul stage cultivation, even if he only carried a small part of his spiritual sense, Fong Lei would still be stronger than a normal early nascent soul stage cultivator. Gu-hun watched as their Grand Elder easily made a hole in the 7-demon formation and disappeared from sight. He couldn't help but look at GMO and asked hesitantly, Junior brother GMO, that was the demon planting orb? GMO swallowed a white pill and exhaled. That's right. It was our sect's demon planting orb. Elder Qian gave it to me before. I thought it was Elder Qian's nascent soul stage spiritual power, but I didn't expect it to be Grand Elder's. And he even split a part of his spiritual sense and placed it in the blood-sucking orb. GMO's tone was filled with disbelief. Grand Elder's status was such that even a normal nascent soul stage cultivator would treat him with respect. Such a powerful cultivator would actually spend a lot of effort to split a part of his spiritual sense and place it on a kid at the early nascent soul stage. Even if this person was a disciple with a dark spiritual root, it wasn't worth it. GMO couldn't understand. He shook his head. Okay, let's follow Grand Elder's orders and capture Xue Sha alive while he's injured. With that, the Supreme Demon took the lead and flew down. Fei-mo continued to wrap Su Zihong in his spiritual light and followed closely behind with Gu-hun. Gu-hun looked at the dazed Su Zihong in the spiritual light and revealed a look of surprise. The spiritual sense of a late nascent soul stage cultivator could cover an area of more than 20 miles. Even though he was fighting, he still heard GMO and Shueisha's words. Knowing that this kid had a dark spiritual root and cultivated the blood demon technique, Grand Elder didn't hesitate to use a part of his spiritual sense to protect him. It was clear how much he valued this kid. Even though Suzy Hong was only at the early nascent soul stage, he had a dark spiritual root and cultivated the devil marrow body. With the protection of a late nascent soul stage cultivator like old Demon Pang, it was almost certain that he would enter the core formation stage with the blood demon technique. However, Bone Soul had the same doubts as the Supreme Demon. According to his understanding of the Great Elder, it was unlikely that he would waste his energy on low-level disciples. What the Great Elder was pursuing now was how to break through the bottleneck and enter the legendary soul formation stage. Could it be that the Great Elder specially supported this successor to prevent any accidents from occurring during the breakthrough, which would cause the sect's strength to decrease greatly? Or is it because he wants to plot against the Seven Fiends sect? The Bone Soul thought for a moment and shook its head. Forget it. First Elder's thoughts are not something that I can fathom. I want to prepare for the Yuan School's secret territory 20 years later. If I can get that thing inside, my chances of advancing to the Yuanying stage will increase by 10 to 20%. As the three of them pondered, they quickly flew to the northwest of the city and landed next to a pile of ruins. Shueisha leaned against a wall and sat cross-legged. A simple protective array was set up around his body. At this time, his eyes were wide open and he gritted his teeth as he looked at the people coming over. After using the calamity substitution technique, Shueisha's spiritual power was in a state of exhaustion. At this time, he had only recovered a little. He had no power to resist at all. A Xianming sword appeared in the Supreme Demon's hand. Black light flashed and easily broke the protective array. Several black demonic lights entered Shueisha's body and sealed her Jindan. Then, Feimo waved his hand and stripped Shueisha's robe and storage pouch clean, revealing her petite white body. Then, he took out 3 talismans and stuck them on Shueisha's forehead, chest, and lower abdomen. Feimo and the other 2 were core formation cultivators who had cultivated for hundreds of years. They didn't cultivate demonic arts that harvested Yin to replenish Yang. Naturally, they had no interest in Shueisha's body. Finally, Bone Soul took out a gray cloth that was filled with Yin Qi and wrapped it around Shueisha's body. With these 3 methods, even if Shueisha's spiritual power recovered, she wouldn't be able to escape. Feimo wiped away his sweat and collapsed on the ground. He said weakly, "Luckily, it ended quickly. I didn't overdraft too much of my origin energy. I'll meditate first." Then, Feimo took out a small black stone that was emitting demonic qi. He closed his eyes and began to circulate his spiritual power. GMO also took a breath and closed his eyes to refine the pill he swallowed. He was in the best state of the group, but the Supreme Demon True Body also consumed some of his energy. Also, the Xianming sword in his body was contaminated with Shueisha's spiritual power. He needed to deal with it quickly. As for Guhun, he took out a jade bottle. Gray smoke appeared and 2 demonic spirits appeared before him. Each of them emitted the energy of a late-stage foundation establishment cultivator. Only then did Guhun calm down and adjust her spiritual power. As for Suzy Hong, although he didn't know what happened in the middle, he knew he was safe now. He revealed an excited expression and felt the changes in his body. Before, he was in a sealed space and refined the demonic essence body into a ball of black liquid. He swallowed it directly and it flowed in his blood. Suzy Hong faintly felt that his blood had started to transform. After a while, several Foundation establishment cultivators who were lucky enough to survive cautiously emerged from their hiding places. When they discovered that the core formation cultivators had disappeared, they all revealed expressions of relief. In the battle between the core formation cultivators, there were very few Foundation establishment cultivators who survived. Aside from a few who were killed by the shockwaves of the battle, most of them were killed by the Shueisha. At this time, not far from Fei Mo and the other two, a burly man with a scar on his face slowly got up. His spiritual power was very weak, as if he was heavily injured. It was Zhang Yang. He rejoiced and found it hard to believe that he was still alive. Cough, cough, I didn't think Zhang Yang, would be so lucky. I actually survived the attack of a core formation cultivator. Then he saw the 3 core formation cultivators a few hundred feet away. He endured the discomfort in his body and bowed. He slowly retreated 100 feet and took out a pill to heal himself. Not long after, Bai Jie, who was lying not far behind Zhang Yang, let out a groan and opened her eyes in a daze. An hour later, the light screen of the 7 Fiends formation began to shake violently. Accompanied by a huge pressure, the 7 Fiends formation broke apart. Fang Lei, who was possessed by old Devil Pang, appeared outside the city. He turned into a ray of light and landed in front of the Supreme Devil and the others. "Greetings, Grand Elder." The Supreme Devil and the others hurriedly stood up and bowed. Old Devil Pang's voice was faint. "I didn't think that the 7 Fiends sect would arrange for a nascent soul cultivator to help. Although I injured him, the 6 core formation cultivators managed to escape. The 7 Fiends formation has been broken. Just in case, quickly retreat." "Yes, Grand Elder." Then he waved his hand at Suzihong. The bloodthirsty bead slowly floated in front of the Supreme Devil. "Supreme Devil, go back and give the bloodthirsty bead to Elder Qian. And you, kid, go back and listen to Elder Qian's arrangements." At this moment, Suzihong also understood who was talking to him. He was obviously flattered. He immediately knelt on the ground and stuttered, Grand Elder, this junior obeys." Old Devil Pang looked deeply at Suzihong. Then, a human-shaped shadow left Fang Lei's body and entered the bloodthirsty bead. Fang Lei's body quickly shriveled up and became extremely haggard. "Cough, cough, I didn't think that these old bones of mine would still be alive." Fang Lei's eyes returned to normal. He looked at the bloodthirsty bead with reverence. He heard what the Grand Elder said in his body. He immediately summoned the Blood Cloud airship. "Junior Brother Supreme Devil, your injuries are the lightest. Please search for the remaining disciples. We will leave immediately." Supreme Demon nodded. He turned into a black streak of light and shot out. He circled the city twice and enveloped all the remaining disciples in his light. Chapter 660. A month later, Lu Kuan sat cross-legged in the cave of the blood refining sect. His body surged with qi and blood. His expression was ferocious and his eyes were red. A brutal aura was faintly discernible. After an unknown period of time, he slowly opened his eyes. The vigorous qi and blood in his body had disappeared. Lu Kuan's face showed some lingering fear. "I didn't think that my frequent use of muscle qi would affect the true demon will in the depths of my bones. If the battle in the Ouyang clan had been more intense, the true demon will in my body would have erupted. At that time, even if I hadn't lost my mind, I would have been detected by other core formation cultivators." Lu Kuan's consciousness looked at the purple-black blood crystals in the depths of his bones. These crystals were attached to his bone marrow. Although they were beautiful and bright, they were the biggest hidden danger in his body. Lu Kuan felt that time was running out. After sealing the true demon will, he recalled the mission not long ago and the many changes that had occurred. He sighed. The battle between the demon sects of the Qi Kingdom is really fierce. The two sides went back and forth and schemed against each other. This time, the 7 Fiends sect suffered. Not only was the Blood Fiend Master captured by the Blood Refining sect, but the demon marrow body also helped Suzihong for no reason. The Ouyang clan became a sacrifice. At that time, I felt a dangerous aura on Suzihong. It should have been old Demon Pang's consciousness. A month ago, in the Ouyang family city, When Shueisha launched an attack with his Dharma treasure, Lu Kuan was almost forced to fight. However, he detected the Supreme Devil's tracks in time and decided to take the enemy's attack. With his physical body, even if he took a direct hit from Shueisha's magic weapon, his flesh would at most be injured. The defense of the bone treasure stage bones was amazing. Moreover, he had many talismans and magic weapons to reduce the power of the attack. Therefore, Lu Kuan only suffered a flesh wound. With Fat Demon's talismans as a cover, the Supreme Demon didn't have any doubts about Lu Kuan and Bai Jie's survival. And the reason why Bai Jie was able to survive was also because Lu Kuan's body had blocked most of the remaining power of the Dharma treasure. After Lu Kuan was sent flying, he restrained his soul fluctuations and pretended to be unconscious. Although he was several dozen meters away, with his hearing as a body cultivator, he heard the entire conversation between the Extreme Devil and Shueisha. He understood the whole story of this trip to the Ouyang family, as well as the secret of Su Zihong's dark spirit root and the demon marrow body. Lu Kuan glanced at the sect token in his hand. Using his divine sense, he sensed the 1,400 contribution points inside. He shook his head and said with a strange expression, "In this mission, the Foundation Establishment cultivators suffered heavy casualties. Only 10 survived. That guy Feng Jing also died inside. The number of survivors is small. However, the quest can be considered completed. All the contribution points awarded will be distributed among the remaining cultivators. Each of them will receive over 1,000 contribution points. There's no such thing as a free lunch in this world. This mission seems to be giving out contribution points, but I didn't expect it to be so dangerous. In the future, when I go on missions in other provinces, I have to be more careful." He glanced at the token and murmured, "In addition to the contribution points, there's also information about the Yuan sect." In the conversation between Shueisha and the Extreme Devil, there was a mention of the Yuan sect's secret territory. The two words, Yuan, were both familiar and unfamiliar to Lu Kuan. In the beginning, Lu Kuan found a Yuan jade pendant in the cave of the Land of Death. Later, after killing the Li brothers, he found the same jade pendant in their storage pouches. According to the information Zhu Xiaofeng obtained from the Spirit Transformation sect, the Li brothers most likely obtained it from an ancient cultivator's cave. Coupled with the ancient characters on the jade pendant, Lu Kuan could only speculate that it was a product of ancient times. The next time he encountered the Yuan jade pendant was in the Death Sea Devil Cave, when he was fighting against the demon race. Thanks to the special effect of the Yuan jade pendant, it imprisoned the ancient demon race's soul within it. This allowed Lu Kuan to avoid the danger of being possessed. He also vaguely understood how to use this mysterious treasure. Lu Kuan had once poured magic power into the jade pendant. It was probably at that time that the Yuan jade pendant activated some kind of function. From the frightened tone of the devil soul, he knew that this was a type of soul-sucking magic tool. If nothing unexpected happened, it should have been specially refined by the Yuan sect, that the devil soul spoke of to specifically target the ancient demon race's soul. From Tian Renjie to the devil soul's attempt to possess his body, Lu Kuan knew that the devil soul could easily possess the body of a human cultivator. With this kind of jade pendant, he had a protective talisman. From this, Lu Kuan knew that this Yuan sect was definitely a sect that fought against the ancient demon race. Otherwise, they wouldn't have refined such a special magic tool. After seeing the Yuan jade pendant, the devil soul wouldn't have revealed monstrous hatred. Now, from the mouth of the Qi State's core formation stage cultivator, Lu Kuan couldn't help but have some thoughts about the Yuan sect's secret territory 20 years later. Although the blood devil power was very likely to solve the problem of the true demon intent, it wasn't a sure thing. Since the Yuan sect was able to refine a magic tool that could restrain the devil soul, it naturally had a set of methods to deal with the ancient demon race. In this so-called Yuan secret territory, he might be able to find a way to restrain the true demon intent. Moreover, inside Lu Kuan's Yuan jade pendant, there was still a living devil's soul trapped inside. If he could eliminate it, then Lu Kuan would feel at ease. This method of eliminating the devil's soul had to start from Yuan school. Su Zihong, that brat, should be the core disciple of the foundation establishment stage. I helped him in the Ouyang family, so our friendship is not shallow. I will find an opportunity to inquire about the origin of the Yuan school secret territory from him. In the Ouyang family, Lu Kuan had tried to help Su Zihong resist the attack of the core formation stage. The relationship between the two had become very close. Su Zihong also believed that he was indeed similar to Zhang Yang's benefactor. If it were other disciples of the blood-refining sect, it would be impossible for them to help their fellow disciples resist the attack of the core formation stage. But how could he know that Lu Kuan was deliberately putting on a show for the fat devil? After the battle of the Ouyang family, the remaining disciples also faintly felt that Su Zihong was specially taken care of by the core formation stage cultivator. They were somewhat in awe of him. With such a disciple who was closely watched by old Devil Pang, Lu Kuan's life in the blood-refining sect would be much smoother. The matter of the Yuan sect is secondary. Anyway, there are still 20 years. My priority now is to earn the remaining 3,600 contribution points and enter the Blood Devil Cave as soon as possible to obtain the Blood Devil skill. Lu Kuan calculated in his heart. Next, I will focus on cultivating the art of making talismans. Cultivators with different spiritual roots will basically cultivate this art. After all, different attribute talismans are rare. The price is not low. In the blood refining sect, you can even exchange them for contribution points. After a cultivator entered the core formation stage, their lifespan would be greatly increased. They would choose to study one of their sidelines: refining tools, making talismans, alchemy, or formations. Lu Kuan himself was proficient in the art of refining tools. As for alchemy, it was useless for him as a body cultivator. The only things left were talisman making and formations. With Lu Kuan's proficiency in lightning magic and his core formation stage spiritual sense, it was natural for him to choose talisman making. He had already shown his great talent in casting spells to the blood refining sect. It was reasonable for him to be proficient in talisman making. Thinking of this, Lu Kuan got up and walked out of the cave. He intended to exchange for some talisman making jade slip. Then, he would go to the market of the blood refining sect and purchase a large amount of talisman making materials. He would start making the Thunder Spirit talisman from the palm. Chapter 661. 4 years passed in the blink of an eye. A year ago, the Blood Refining School held another round of disciple recruitment. Ever since the Blood Refining School changed the recruitment period from 20 years to 5 years, the number of Qi refining stage disciples in the Blood Devil Mountain range had increased. Over the past few years, the strength of the Foundation establishment stage disciples had also been replenished. Of course, the disciples that were openly recruited were all from clans that were related to the Blood Refining School. Some of these clans were top clans like the Chun clan and the Fong clan, while others were small clans with 1 or 2 Foundation establishment stage cultivators. As for the rogue cultivators who had no foundation, they could only enter the Blood Refining School after passing the Blood Mist Valley trial. Half a year ago, the Blood Mist Valley also held a bloody battle. 3 rogue cultivators stood out and successfully entered the Blood Refining School. On this day, the 3 new rogue cultivators stood in a corner of the mission hall. A soundproof barrier enveloped them. The oldest of the 3 sighed and said, "The Foundation establishment pills in the Blood Refining School are indeed much better than those sold in the market outside. Unfortunately, our aptitude is too low. Even after taking 1 Foundation establishment pill, we still couldn't reach the Foundation establishment stage." Another beautiful young woman bit her red lips and said hatefully, "If it weren't for the Chen family smashing it, our spirit stones would be able to be exchanged for more contribution points. Each of us could have taken 2 pills. Unlike now, we've sold a lot of magic tools and only got 3 foundation establishment pills." The youngest young man heard this and became nervous. He looked around and saw that no one was paying attention to them. He whispered, "Second sister, be careful with your words. If we didn't spend money to avoid disaster, I'm afraid we would have been seriously injured by the Chun clan. Maybe even our foundation would be damaged. If that happened, our chances of reaching the foundation establishment stage would be even slimmer. Besides, we offended the Chun clan. Even if we reach the foundation establishment stage, we won't have a good time." The middle-aged man said in a deep voice, "Well, let's not dwell on the past. As long as we can reach the foundation establishment stage, everything will be worth it. I've decided to accept the Death Abyss mission." The young man's face changed. "Big brother, are you talking about the large-scale mission that was released not long ago?" "Yes. Although the basic contribution points for this mission are only 20, if we can capture zombies or bring back some treasures with cold energy, we can exchange them for more contribution points. Who knows, we might be able to accumulate enough contribution points from this mission." The young woman hesitated. "But big brother, according to the information we've gathered, there's been a change in the abyss of death this time. There's even a foundation establishment stage undead creature that has left the abyss. Wouldn't it be a bit risky for us to rashly accept it?" The middle-aged man sighed and said, "The 3 of us had some lucky chances, so we were able to cultivate to the Great Circle realm. But we're not young anymore. If we wait a few years, the chances of us building our foundation will decrease. It's better to take some risks now. You don't have to worry too much. We're only moving around outside the Death Abyss. We won't go in. Also, look at what this is." As he spoke, the middle-aged man took out 3 talismans that glowed with a purple halo. The young woman's eyes lit up. Could this be the Palm Thunder Talisman? The middle-aged man nodded and said, "That's right, the blood-refining sect is indeed a top sect." Hundreds of Thunder Palm talismans appeared in the pavilion all of a sudden. I happened to pass by at that time, but I didn't have enough contribution points, so I only managed to grab 3. The rest were bought by other Chi refining disciples. Palm Thunder Talisman? It can be said to be the strongest talisman a Chi refining cultivator can use. It has great destructive power against undead creatures. The young woman was pleasantly surprised. This is a large-scale mission. There's a foundation establishment stage cultivator leading the team. The other disciples who bought the Palm Thunder Talisman must also be doing it for this mission. This way, the danger will be greatly reduced. The young man said excitedly, "Big brother, what are we waiting for? With a talisman like the Palm Thunder Talisman that can restrain undead creatures? Even if we encounter an early-stage foundation establishment stage cultivator, we won't be afraid." The young woman said, "How many contribution points does this Palm Thunder Talisman cost? We'll transfer it to Big Brother." The middle-aged man's lips curled up. "There's no hurry. The Palm Thunder Talisman might have other uses. Let's go take the mission first." After saying that, the middle-aged man put away the talisman. He didn't intend to give it to the other 2. He took the lead and walked into the depths of the mission hall. Seeing this, the other 2 couldn't help but look at each other. A flash of uneasiness appeared in their eyes. On the 2nd floor of the mission hall, in a certain cubicle for foundation establishment stage cultivators, 2 men were sitting inside. One of the men was elegant and handsome. He was slowly tasting the spirit tea in front of him. Sitting opposite him was a big man with a fierce face. There was a scar on his face that looked very fierce. He drank the spirit tea in one gulp and smacked his lip. "I say, Brother Sue, your spirit tea doesn't have any taste." The handsome man didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Brother Zhang, how can there be any taste when you drink it like this? My tea needs to be carefully tasted to be able to appreciate its beauty. These two people were Lu Kuan, disguised as Zhang Yang, and Su Zihong. Lu Kuan leaned back and waved his hand. Forget it, a rough person like me can't drink this kind of thing. He shifted his body into a more comfortable position and said lazily, I didn't think that the higher-ups would appoint Junior Brother to take on that nuisance of Death's Abyss mission. However, it's fortunate that I have this mission. Can I use the remaining Thunder Talismans in my hands? I used up all the remaining Thunder Talismans and earned a sum of contribution points. Su Zihong's face turned serious. Speaking of which, I have to thank Brother Zhang. That group of Qi refinement stage disciples have Thunder Talismans? My mission this time should be much smoother. Lu Kuan was a little curious. By the way, I just came back from the border of the Eastern continent. What kind of mission is this? It seems to be related to the undead creatures. Su Zihong took a sip of the spirit tea and said, Death's Abyss. Brother Zhang should know about it. Lu Kuan nodded. The Death's Abyss is in the southwest area of the southern continent. It's an abyss that is thousands of miles long. It's filled with cold energy. The deepest part is thousands of feet. The further southwest you go, the shallower it gets. It's connected to the Death's Land of Wei. It's said that in the deepest part of the Death's Abyss, there are nascent soul stage undead creatures. It's a forbidden area in the southern continent. But since ancient times, the creatures of the Death's Abyss have never left the abyss. Su Zihong said slowly, recently, a mine station in the middle of the Death's Abyss was attacked by the undead creatures. Although there were no losses, it was the first time in tens of thousands of years that the undead creatures left the abyss. In that attack, the strongest undead creature was at the Foundation establishment stage. Because the Death's Abyss is in the territory of our sect, the Deacon Elder attached great importance to it and arranged this mission. At this point, Su Zihong put down the teacup and looked at Lu Kuan. I don't know if Brother Zhang is interested in this mission. Brother Zhang is proficient in thunder attribute spells and has never failed against the undead creatures. Lu Kuan waved his hand. I'll pass. After selling this batch of thunder palms, my contribution points have reached 5,000 points. I'll have to prepare in the next 2 days. Su Zihong heard this and his expression became serious. Brother Zhang, you've really decided to go to the Blood Demon Cave? Lu Kuan's eyes shone with desire. That's right. I joined the Blood Refining Sect to cultivate the Blood Demon technique. Otherwise, after entering the Foundation establishment stage for a few years, I wouldn't have not chosen any techniques, causing my magic power to stagnate. Su Zihong already knew of Zhang Yang's determination and didn't stop him. I've already told Brother Zhang about the situation in the Blood Demon Cave. Seeing how confident Brother Zhang is, I wish Brother Zhang success in obtaining the Blood Demon technique. Lu Kuan let out a wanton laugh. Don't worry. This Blood Demon technique is mine, Zhang Yang. After saying this, he threw out a few talismans. He gave them to Su Zihong. These are mid-grade talismans? Keep them, they might be useful. I'll go back to my abode to prepare. Goodbye. Su Zihong didn't argue and took the talismans. Looking at Lu Kuan's departing figure, a strange light flashed in his eyes. If he really obtains the Blood Demon technique, I'll have a strong ally in the secret realm 10 years later. Chapter 662. Lu Kuan walked out of the mission hall and smiled when he sensed the 5,100 contribution points in the token. I didn't expect a mission like the Death's Abyss to suddenly appear. Plus, the Blood Refining Sect recruited a new batch of Qi condensation disciples. The 100 or so thunder palms were easily sold. 1 thunder palm is worth 10 contribution points. 120 thunder palms are worth 1,200 contribution points. The remaining gap is quickly filled. I can finally enter the Blood Demon Cave. For the past 4 years, Lu Kuan almost never went out. Apart from missions, he spent the rest of his time refining talismans in his cave residence. After he started practicing talisman crafting, he realized the difficulty of this skill. Even with his core formation spiritual sense and his proficiency in lightning attribute spells, he could only succeed once in 10 thunder palms. How about making talismans? That would consume a lot of magic power. If Lu Kuan didn't use his internal magic power, he could only attempt to make 20 thunder palms at a time. After spending a lot of time and energy, his success rate increased greatly after 2 months. Of course, if Lu Kuan spent a lot of spirit stones to purchase talisman crafting materials, it would be faster. However, that would be suspicious. An early foundation establishment disciple couldn't possibly have so many spirit stones. So the thunder palms that Lu Kuan refined? Most of them were sold at the blood refining sect's market square for materials. During this time, he only threw a small portion into the blood refining sect's talismans. They were sold in the pavilion. As for the mid-grade lightning attribute talismans he refined, he never sold them. Apart from talisman crafting, Lu Kuan only accepted missions with good contribution points. A few days ago, he completed a mission related to the Yin-Yang demon sect. When he returned, he learned about the Death's Abyss mission. He sold more than 100 thunder palms and earned enough contribution points. How could he accumulate so many talismans in 4 years? It could only be said that Zhang Yang's talent in talisman crafting was extremely high. In addition, many foundation establishment disciples knew that Zhang Yang, a cultivator with thunder spirit root, had an astonishing talent in talisman crafting, so it was not surprising that he was proficient in it. The blood refining sect was the most powerful sect in the state of Qi. They had all kinds of lightning attributed magic. Lu Kuan even saw the shadow of a high-level magic. These could be exchanged for with contribution points. With the Oath Stone, he didn't need to worry about disciples leaking this information. Due to the limitations of his cultivation and contribution points, Lu Kuan only added 3 new middle-level thunder attribute spells: the control-type Thunder Net spell, the Thunder Arrow which had a stronger attack power than the Thunder Palm, and the Explosive Thunder spell which had a wide range of attack. With these talismans, he could easily deal with those in the middle stage of foundation establishment. As for Su Zihong, he had spent most of his time in closed-door cultivation in the past 4 years. However, when he occasionally came out to carry out missions, he would call Lu Kuan along. Not only because Lu Kuan had helped him in the Ouyang clan city, but also because of Lu Kuan's religion and talent in magic. Among all the early-stage foundation establishment cultivators in the sect, only Lu Kuan could catch Su Zihong's eye. In Su Zihong's opinion, Lu Kuan's straightforward personality was quite compatible with him, so he made a point of befriending him. Under Elder Qian's arrangement, the missions that Su Zihong carried out gave him abundant contribution points. It was difficult for ordinary disciples to obtain them. This allowed Lu Kuan to accumulate contribution points much faster. Only the 4 core formation cultivators knew that Su Zihong cultivated the blood demon arts and had a dark spiritual root. Because it involved the blood refining sect's great elder, they didn't dare to leak it. As for the surviving foundation establishment cultivators of the Fong clan, they felt that Su Zihong was related to the core formation cultivators in the sect. They suspected that he was an in-name disciple of a core formation cultivator. They didn't know that he was actually the disciple of the sect's great elder. During one of the missions, Lu Kuan accidentally discovered Su Zihong's astonishing strength that was close to the late stage of foundation establishment. After asking, Su Zihong told Lu Kuan that he cultivated the blood demon arts. Lu Kuan let nature take its course and learned more about the blood demon cave from Su Zihong. After leaving the mission hall, Lu Kuan first pretended to stay in his cave for 3 days before flying directly into the depths of the Blood Demon mountain range. The Blood Demon cave was the most important place in the blood refining sect. It was located in the center of the Blood Demon Mountain Range. As Lu Kuan went deeper, the ratio of spirit energy and devil energy gradually changed. The devil energy's ratio increased while the spirit energy's ratio decreased, but the density increased. After flying for more than 2 hours with the speed of a Foundation establishment cultivator, Lu Kuan had no choice but to stop. All kinds of complicated restrictions began to appear in the mountain range ahead, making it impossible to pass through. After a while, a square-faced man with a cultivation base at the Great Circle of Foundation establishment flew over. He glanced at the token on Lu Kuan's waist and coldly said, "This is the cave residence area of the Sex Elders. It's not a place you can come." Lu Kuan cupped his hands and said, "Senior Martial Brother, this Junior Martial Brother wants to enter the Blood Demon Cave." The square-faced man let out a soft cry of surprise. He carefully sized up Lu Kuan and his eyes revealed disdain. He lightly said, "In that case, let me check the token first." Lu Kuan obediently handed over the sect token. Zhang Yang. You really have 5,000 contribution points. Come on my flying boat." Lu Kuan stepped on a flying Dharma artifact and landed on the square-faced man's flying boat. The latter then flew towards the mountain range's restrictions. He had a formation plate in his hand that emitted a black spiritual light that enveloped the flying boat. The restrictions around them were not affected much. As the flying boat went deeper, Lu Kuan felt that the restrictions around them were becoming more and more terrifying. Many of them made him shudder with fear. Moreover, Lu Kuan's physical nerves trembled from time to time, indicating that several nascent soul cultivators were using their divine senses to investigate them. This made him secretly speechless. The speed of a Great Circle of Foundation establishment cultivator was quite fast. After flying for more than an hour, they arrived in front of a small valley surrounded by 4 mountain peaks. The 4 mountain peaks were shrouded in black fog and densely covered with all kinds of restrictions, making Lu Kuan feel extremely pressured. The outside of the valley in front of them was shrouded in a layer of purple-black light curtain that emitted an unfathomable aura. It felt much more powerful than the restriction formation in the core area. Moreover, after arriving here, the density of the devil chi had reached its peak. The square-faced man controlled the flying boat and landed outside the small valley. He threw a sound transmission talisman into the valley and waited quietly. Lu Kuan came to the deepest part of the blood refining sect. On the surface, he looked around curiously, but in reality, he was very nervous. He tried his best to use his soul concealment divine sense, not daring to relax in the slightest. There might be nascent soul cultivators watching at this time. After half a day, a gap appeared in the black light curtain in front of them. A powerful late core formation cultivator's divine sense probed out from inside and a voice resounded in the minds of the 2. "Disciples who want to enter the Blood Demon Cave, come in. Martial Nephew Yu, wait outside." "Yes, Martial Uncle Fong." As for Lu Kuan, he slowly walked into the black light barrier. Soon, he saw an old man with a head full of white hair sitting on a huge rock. His demonic power was similar to Guhan's. Clearly, he was also a late core formation stage cultivator. Lu Kuan respectfully said, "Disciple Zhang Yang greets Senior." The old man said indifferently, "Take out your sect token." Lu Kuan did as he was told and handed it over. The old man took out a magic tool and swept it over Lu Kuan's token. He then said, "Walk straight for 300 feet and you'll reach the entrance to the Blood Demon Cave. The restriction has already been opened. After you enter, you will reach the first level. You can return halfway, but you will also die inside. If you can pass through the first level, the formation will naturally teleport you out." "Yes, Senior." Seeing that the old man had closed his eyes, Lu Kuan walked forward. Soon, he arrived outside an incomparably dark cave. The layer of restrictions on the cave had already been opened. Dense demonic chi emanated from within. It was even denser than the Death Sea Demon Cave. Chapter 663. The cave was not deep, only about 10 feet deep. It was surrounded by purple-black rocks that exuded a strong demonic aura and a faint purple-black halo. It was not as dark as he had imagined. After landing on the ground, Lu Kuan looked around. In front of him was a sealed cave, about 10 feet long and wide. It was surrounded by walls made of purple-black rocks, and the entire cave exuded a dark purple-black light. The most eye-catching were the 4 black pillars in the center. Each pillar was 10 feet in diameter and the size was exactly the same. The only difference was the thickness of the spiritual light on them. From left to right, the spiritual light on the black pillars became thicker and thicker, and the aura they exuded became more and more astonishing. Lu Kuan could easily sense the aura fluctuations of the early foundation establishment stage from the leftmost pillar. The one on the right was the early core formation stage, and the aura of the 2 pillars on the right was unfathomable. They were most likely above the nascent soul stage. Because he had communicated with Su Zihong before, Lu Kuan was very clear about the role of the 4 pillars. Each pillar corresponded to a different level of the Blood Demon Cave. Lu Kuan was now going to enter the leftmost pillar. Before coming, Lu Kuan had specially dispersed the magic power in his internal organs, just in case. This was because the function of the light pillar was to test the magic power in his body. Only when his magic power met the requirements could he enter. Lu Kuan carefully observed the 4 pillars. The ground and the rocks at the top were arranged with complex restrictions. These restrictions were maintaining the 4 pillars of light. The pillars of light are full of demonic power. It seems that they rely on the demonic aura here to operate. Although there is no reaction from the muscles and nerves in my body, there might be more powerful nascent soul stage cultivators secretly observing me. My current physical body may not be able to sense the spiritual sense of someone above the middle nascent soul stage. Lu Kuan walked directly to the black pillar on the left, took a deep breath, and activated all the early foundation establishment stage magic power in his muscles and walked in. At this moment, Lu Kuan felt a special magical fluctuation sweep through his body, producing a repulsive force. However, after encountering the magical fluctuations on his body, the resistance disappeared, allowing Lu Kuan to walk in smoothly. Only then did he feel relieved. The realm of the bone treasure stage was poles apart from the traditional cultivators. There was no Jindan in the body, so naturally this light beam would not think that Lu Kuan was a core formation stage cultivator. Inside the light pillar was a flashing array that connected to the surrounding black pillars. At the front of the array, there was a square dent that was exactly the same size as the blood refining faction's token. Lu Kuan took out the sect token from his waist and embedded it into the array. Then, he poured his magic power into the token. Soon, the entire array lit up. The blood refining sect's defense in the Blood Demon Cave is really cautious. Not to mention the many seals outside, even the magical energy has to meet the requirement. And this teleportation array can only be activated with the sect's token. The late core formation stage old man outside, in addition to deducting my contribution points, also placed a temporary magical power in the token, which is the key to activating the teleportation array. Lu Kuan put away the token and walked into the teleportation array. In a flash of light, he was teleported out. Shaking his head, Lu Kuan appeared in a new place. He walked out of the teleportation array and vaguely felt that he was not teleported too far away. It was very likely that he was just below the cave. In front of me is the guardian demonic beast. About 10 feet in front of the teleportation array, there was a stone door covered with a layer of seal. In front of the stone door, there was a huge demonic snake. This demonic snake was covered with faint black scales and exuded a very rich magical aura. The intensity of the aura was similar to that of an ordinary peak level 2 demonic beast. I thought Su Zihong was joking, but I didn't expect it to really be a demonic beast. I don't know how the blood-refining sect managed to cultivate demonic beasts. Suzy Hong encountered a demonic wolf, but I'm facing a demonic snake. When Lu Kuan learned about the situation in the Blood Demon Cave from Fong Zheng, the other party did not explain it clearly. Instead, it was Suzy Hong who told Lu Kuan about the demonic beast. Back then, Suzy Hong relied on his Dark Spirit Root's magical talent to pass this level. If he used his Dark Spirit Root to cast spells, he would not be hindered in this area with dense demonic chi. Some of his spells would even be strengthened. But if it was other Foundation establishment cultivators who did not cultivate demonic arts, their strength would be greatly reduced in this demonic chi area. Adding on the fact that demonic beasts were stronger than demonic beasts of the same level, they would be like fish in water. Just this level alone would be very difficult to pass. Lu Kuan slowly walked forward while muttering something. His hands gradually flashed with 2 electric lights. When Lu Kuan came within 10 feet of the demonic snake, it immediately raised its head and hissed. Immediately after, a black light flashed and rushed over. Lu Kuan threw out the 2 electric lights in his hand. In an instant, they turned into 2 electric nets, covering an area of 50 to 60 feet in front of him. This was the thunder net technique that he had just cultivated in the blood refining sect. As soon as the thunder net technique was thrown out, a huge black snake shadow was enveloped. The demonic snake was trapped by the thunder net technique for a moment. Its body twisted as it tried to break free. Lu Kuan's face turned serious. He clasped his hands together and the magic power in his body surged. The 2 thunder net techniques fused together, greatly increasing the binding power. But the demonic snake's body also surged with demonic power. Under the corrosion of the demonic power, the thunder net technique melted at a speed visible to the naked eye. The demonic snake's range of movement increased. Lu Kuan took this opportunity to take out 8 purple talismans. These talismans were aimed at the demonic snake that was about to break free. In an instant, they turned into 8 lightning arrows, connected in a line and shot towards the demonic snake's 7 inches. This was an intermediate rank thunder attribute spell, Lightning Arrow. As a thunder attribute spell, its power was not inferior to ordinary intermediate rank spells. Unfortunately, its power was reduced in the Devil Chi area. Boom! The thunder net technique shattered at this moment. The demonic snake regained its mobility and swung its thick snake tail to meet the 8 lightning arrows. Lu Kuan seemed to have expected this. His hands moved and the 8 lightning arrows seemed to be guided. In an instant, they merged into a dazzling purple lightning arrow. Its power increased sharply, almost approaching the level of an intermediate rank spell. Crackle! The demonic snake's tail was scattered by more than half, and cracks appeared on its black scales. After being injured, the demonic snake was furious. Its body twisted and its speed increased sharply. It was still more than 10 feet away from Lu Kuan. Lu Kuan took out 5 more talismans. He threw them out, and 5 layers of thunder net technique appeared in front of him. Then, he used the same method to make the thunder net technique superimposed. Buzz! This time, the power of the thunder net technique increased greatly, and it tightly wrapped around the furious demonic snake. Lu Kuan did not stop and took out 16 more lightning arrow talismans. He was sweating profusely, and his divine sense fluctuated violently. It was very difficult for him to cast some kind of spell, and then he shot out the 16 talismans. The 16 lightning arrows merged together, forming an unstable inch-long lightning arrow. For a moment, the dim cave was filled with a purple halo. Accompanied by the sound of thunder, the miniature lightning arrow directly bombarded the demonic snake's 7 inches. Although the demonic snake's defense was not weak, its 7 inches was still a vital point. Moreover, Lu Kuan had combined the 16 lightning arrows into one, increasing the power of his attack. This attack easily broke through the demonic snake's defense. The lightning exploded, and the demonic snake's head fell to the ground with a plop. Lu Kuan exhaled, revealing a relieved expression. He immediately sat cross-legged, took out several spirit stones, and began to recover. Acting is really tiring. I hope there really are blood-refining sect cultivators secretly observing. Otherwise, my efforts will be in vain. Chapter 664. This Relingen kid is only at the early stage of Foundation establishment, but his understanding of lightning-attributed spells has reached such a level. If he has enough magic power, he could even easily cast a mid-level spell like Thunder Fall. Outside the Blood Demon Cave, the old man in charge of the small valley looked at the image on the bronze mirror in his hand with amazement. He then picked up a jade slip beside him and used his spiritual sense to explore it. Lines of information appeared one after another. Zhang Yang, a rogue cultivator, the only descendant of a fallen family in the northern barren state of Chu. 5 years ago, he killed his way out of the Blood Mist Valley alone and entered the blood refining sect. Relingen, extremely talented in casting spells. He was able to cast the Thunder Palm at the Qi refining stage. After reaching Foundation establishment, he focused on the art of talisman crafting. He can craft mid-level lightning-attributed talismans. His overall strength is comparable to mid-level Foundation establishment. He is decisive in killing. He seems reckless, but he is actually shrewd. This jade slip introduced Zhang Yang's information in detail. It was unknown when this jade slip came into the hands of this old man. Clearly, the blood refining sect paid close attention to this disciple, Zhang Yang, and knew that he was going to enter the Blood Demon Cave. He used talismans to cast many lightning-attributed spells to reduce the consumption of his own magic power and spiritual sense. Talismans? He refined them himself, so he can control them more freely. Using his understanding of lightning-attributed spells, he fused them together and finally exploded with power close to the late stage of Foundation establishment. The old man sighed. This kid is definitely a genius disciple. No wonder Elder Qian wanted me to pay attention to this kid's situation in the Blood Demon Cave. If Zhang Yang successfully obtains the Blood Demon technique, I have to inform him immediately. The old man shot a ray of spiritual light at the bronze mirror in front of him. The image on the mirror flashed and the scene behind the stone door was revealed. After the demonic snake died, the restriction on the stone door disappeared. Lu Kuan used the Mega Strength technique and easily pushed the door open. The cave behind the stone door was even narrower. It was only 2 to 3 feet in length and was circular. Different from the outside, the cave floor was covered with all kinds of complicated patterns and jades of various colors. Lu Kuan even recognized a few top refining materials that could be used to refine magic treasures. These patterns and materials turned this narrow cave into a huge spirit array. In the center of the magic array was a black crystal pillar that was 3 feet tall. Extremely pure demonic qi emanated from it. Lu Kuan even felt that it was somewhat similar to the pure demonic qi in the depths of the Sea of Death. Under the influence of such dense demonic qi, his exposed Foundation establishment stage mana was suppressed to the extreme. This pillar was inlaid with an incomparably dark, round magic ball. The gloomy luster on its surface was like a black hole, as if it could suck a person's soul into it. The Blood Magic Techniques Foundation establishment stage cultivation method is recorded here. You need to inject your transcendence energy to activate it. Lu Kuan stared at the black magic ball with bright eyes and muttered, I, Zhang Yang, am determined to obtain the blood demon art. After saying that, he firmly pressed his hands on the black magic ball and began to inject his magic power into it. At that moment, the old man outside also stared at Zhang Yang in the bronze mirror with his eyes wide open. I don't know if this kid can withstand this trace of true demonic qi. This thought flashed through the old man's mind. He saw Zhang Yang in the bronze mirror raise his head. His eyes became incomparably red, flashing with brutality and bloodthirstiness, as if he had lost his mind. Then he hugged his head with both hands and let out a mournful roar. He frantically rolled on the ground. Seeing this, the old man's eyes revealed an expression of, "I knew it." He sighed and said, "Although it's only a trace of true demonic chi, it's still not something a foundation establishment stage cultivator can withstand. Even if the power of the divine sense has reached the core formation stage, there's still a lot of risk. Only a special constitution can withstand the corrosion of the true demonic chi. After withstanding the corrosion of the divine sense, this true demonic chi, which has been improved by the demon exterminator ray, will spread to the body and blood. Only then can the blood magic technique be smoothly initiated." The old man looked at Zhang Yang, who was rolling in pain, and said regretfully, "It's a pity for this Zhang Yang. With his Relingen and innate talent, if he cultivated Junior Brother Chen's true demonic imperial thunder technique, it would be incomparably smooth. In the future, when he enters the core formation stage, he might even be more powerful than Junior Brother Chen." Looking at Zhang Yang, who was still screaming and rolling in pain in the bronze mirror, the old man stretched out his hand and prepared to withdraw the image. But at that moment, a purple light suddenly appeared on Zhang Yang's body. "Hey, there's a change." The old man immediately noticed Zhang Yang's abnormality. He stopped the spiritual power in his hand and stared at the bronze mirror without blinking. This trace of lightning wandered around Zhang Yang's body. As time passed, more and more lightning emerged from Lu Kuan's body and gradually covered his entire body. The lightning stuck close to his skin like a lightning magic robe. Zhang Yang, who was originally rolling and struggling, gradually calmed down. These lightning bolts came quickly and left quickly. When Zhang Yang stopped struggling, they disappeared. Zhang Yang stood up unsteadily. The red light in his eyes disappeared. His eyes first showed a trace of confusion, then a look of fear appeared on his face. He took a deep breath and calmed down. Looking at the magic ball in front of him, he once again placed his hand on it. Seeing this scene, the old man's eyes were still a little sluggish. He actually withstood the true demonic intent. This kid just released lightning all over his body. What kind of magic was that? No, when he was eroded by the true demonic intent, he had already lost his consciousness. It was impossible for him to activate magic. The only possibility is that this kid has some kind of special constitution. This constitution is related to the thunder attribute. The lightning that spontaneously spread should be stimulated by his constitution when he stimulated his magic power at a critical moment. The thunder attribute magic itself has a somewhat restraining effect on the demonic aura. I'm afraid this is the reason why the erosion of the true demonic intent was defeated and this kid regained his consciousness. The old man looked at the jade slip next to him and thoughtfully said, "Could it be that Elder Qian had already noticed something and asked me to pay attention to whether this kid could obtain the blood magic technique?" That's right. Zhang Yang's understanding of the thunder attribute magic is almost close to that of a core formation cultivator. If he doesn't have a special constitution, it can't be explained. The old man seemed to understand Elder Qian's attention to Zhang Yang. He put away the bronze mirror in his hand, then took out a voice transmission talisman, whispered a few words into it, and sent it out with a special method. Inside the cave, Lu Kuan pressed his hands on the black magic ball. His closed eyes trembled slightly and his brows furrowed. He was receiving the information of the cultivation method from the magic ball. It contained the first 3 layers of the blood magic technique, which corresponded to the early, middle, and late stages of the foundation establishment realm. Lu Kuan's spiritual sense was strong, so he could multitask. He received the information of the cultivation method while silently chewing the top cultivation method of the blood refining sect. After about a quarter of an hour, he slowly opened his eyes. At this moment, the black magic ball had turned gray, and the array under his feet bloomed with a dazzling light. Chapter 665. When Lu Kuan opened his eyes again, he found that he had already appeared in the first black beam of light. Apparently, after he received the first 3 levels of the Blood Demon technique, he was automatically teleported out by the array behind the stone door. Lu Kuan felt the cultivation technique imprinted in his mind, glanced at the dim array, and walked out while thinking. The first level of the Blood Demon cave is actually a small cave behind the stone door. The demonic beast at the door is just to test the strength of the disciples. As long as it is killed, the stone door can be opened. To defeat a demonic beast at the peak of the second level, one must at least have the strength of the middle stage of the Foundation establishment realm. Moreover, one must display their strength early in this area full of demonic chi, thus eliminating a large number of disciples. Lu Kuan walked to the entrance of the Blood Demon cave, cast a light body technique on himself, and moved up. According to Su Zihong's description, the final test is indeed related to the true demon intent. Otherwise, there would not be disciples who specially cultivated to the late stage of the Foundation establishment realm and then destroyed their own cultivation to come here, in order to rely on a more profound divine sense to resist this chaotic intent. Of course, this true demon intent had no effect on Lu Kuan. Previously, when the violent intent in the true demon pool surged, it was hidden by his divine soul concealment secret technique, not to mention this trace. However, in order to act, Lu Kuan deliberately activated the defensive thunder shield, as if a special instinct of his body had saved him, making people think in the direction of a mysterious physique. In this immortal cultivation world, everyone knew about the aptitude of spiritual roots, but there were various mysterious physiques that cultivators did not know all about. Lu Kuan recalled the array just now, and his eyes flickered. I always felt that the array behind the stone door was a bit strange. If it was just a simple teleportation, it would not need so many precious materials. There should be some other special function. Lu Kuan's knowledge of arrays was limited. Although he could not determine the true function of the array, he faintly felt that this array must have a huge connection with the true demon intent. Forget it. My goal has been achieved since I was able to obtain the first 3 levels of the Blood Demon art. I have to make the best use of my time to study it and resolve the hidden danger in my bones as soon as possible. As he pondered, Lu Kuan quickly arrived at the entrance of the small valley. The old man from before was standing in the middle of the path, his eyes flashing with a strange light as he looked at Lu Kuan. "Kid, you're not bad. I didn't expect that you would be able to successfully obtain the blood magic technique." The old man clicked his tongue in wonder. Upon hearing this, Lu Kuan knew that this person had secretly observed the entire process and knew that he had successfully obtained the demonic blood art. He bent down and revealed a look of lingering fear. "I didn't expect the final test to be so terrifying. I almost lost my mind." The old man stroked his beard and said slowly, "This is a test that you must pass. After that brutal will fails, it will transform into a mysterious energy that will transform your body. Otherwise, even if you obtain the Blood Demon art, you won't be able to successfully cultivate the first level." Upon hearing this, Lu Kuan thought of a passage in the Blood Demon art and revealed a thoughtful expression. The old man continued, "You have the talent of Relingen and have successfully obtained the Blood Demon art. Come with me to meet our sex Elder Qian." Lu Kuan was somewhat flattered. "Elder Qian?" The old man shot a black demonic light at Lu Kuan and flew him out of the small valley. At the same time, he said, "Elder Qian is the head elder's chief disciple and an early nascent soul cultivator. He cultivates some kind of mysterious doppelganger technique, so many of our sect's core affairs are handled by him." Lu Kuan was somewhat puzzled. "But why does Elder Qian want to see me? I'm only at the early Foundation establishment stage, while he's a nascent soul stage senior." "You'll naturally understand when you see Elder Qian. After saying this, the old man's speed increased, and he flew towards one of the 4 mountain peaks outside the small valley. Soon, he arrived outside the cave's restriction at the top. The restriction seemed to have discovered them and directly opened. A voice full of energy came out. "Marshal Nephew Fong, wait outside. Zhang Yang, come in." The advanced stage core formation cultivator bowed and took 2 steps back. Lu Kuan, on the other hand, had a nervous expression as he slowly walked in. This elder Qian should be the senior behind Su Zihong. A few years ago, he arranged for the Fat Demon and the Extreme Demon to secretly protect Su Zihong. That old demon Pang also instructed Su Zihong to listen to Elder Qian's arrangements. Recalling the information about Elder Qian in his mind, Lu Kuan quickly entered the cave. This was the first time Lu Kuan entered a nascent soul stage cultivator's cave. Deep in his heart, he was somewhat nervous, but he wasn't worried that the other party would see through his true cultivation. In his body, there was only the mana of the early foundation establishment stage. There was no Aurus core. Moreover, the vigorous power of qi and blood was hidden deep in his bones. After calming himself down, Lu Kuan came to a large hall. The decorations inside were quite simple. Other than a few tables and chairs, there were a few bookshelves lined on both sides. The bookshelves were covered with various kinds of jade scrolls. It seemed like the collection of books was extremely rich. On the chair at the front sat a red-haired old man. He was reading a jade scroll with great interest. Lu Kuan didn't dare to disturb him. He quietly stood in place without moving. Facing a nascent soul stage cultivator, he didn't dare to use the golden eye technique to observe. After about half an hour, the red-haired old man gently threw the jade scroll onto the bookshelf. He raised his head and looked at Lu Kuan. The deep light in his eyes was filled with a sense of oppression. Lu Kuan hurriedly bowed and said with extreme respect, "Junior Zhang Yang greets Elder Qian." The red-haired old man was indeed Elder Qian. He said with some emotion, "I didn't expect that other than Relingen, you also have the Mystic Thunder physique." Lu Kuan's eyes froze. He murmured, "Mystic Thunder physique?" Elder Qian shook his head. "I only saw the description of this physique after looking through a few ancient jade scrolls. This Mystic Thunder physique is extremely rare. It can only appear in the bodies of Relingen cultivators. According to the description of the jade scroll just now, the Mystic Thunder physique has 2 special aspects. The first is that it enhances the comprehension of lightning attribute spells, and can even cast spells above one's level. The second is that in times of crisis, the mana in the body can spontaneously activate lightning defensive spells. From the looks of it, Zhang Yang, you are very likely to have the Mystic Thunder physique." Lu Kuan's eyes widened. He was stunned and speechless. He muttered in his heart. He didn't expect that the few techniques he displayed were really related to a certain physique. The red-haired old man looked at the dazed Lu Kuan and said, "Do you know why I called you here?" Lu Kuan scratched his head and probed, "Could it be related to the blood demon technique?" Elder Qian nodded and said, "That's right. The blood demon technique is our sect's top technique. However, not everyone is suitable for this technique. You must have a special physique. If you use the strength of your divine sense to resist the true demonic intent, even if you cultivate the blood demon technique, you still won't be able to rely on this technique to enter the core formation stage. Only disciples who can use their physique to withstand the blood demon technique can truly meet the requirements of the blood demon technique. These blood demon technique disciples below the nascent soul stage are called blood demons by the 7 Fiends sect and the Yin-Yang demon cult." When Lu Kuan heard this, he thought of something and faintly revealed an excited expression. Chapter 666. Elder Qian continued, "As for the blood demon, our sect will focus on nurturing him so that he can break through to the core formation stage as soon as possible. Only after he enters the nascent soul stage will he truly improve our sect's foundation. Elder Qian proudly said, "Among the many nascent soul cultivators in our sect, besides the Great Elder, who is in the late nascent soul stage, there are 2 mid-nascent soul stage cultivators and 1 early nascent soul stage elder, who also cultivates the blood demon technique. Their existence has established our sect as the #1 demonic sect in the Qi Kingdom. After entering the nascent soul stage, the blood demon technique will be so powerful that you can even fight those above your level. Early nascent soul stage cultivators can fight mid-nascent soul stage cultivators, and mid-nascent soul stage cultivators can fight late nascent soul stage cultivators. The Great Elder can even deal with 2 late nascent soul stage cultivators by himself. Even if the Yin-Yang Demon sect and the 7 Fiends sect work together, our sect won't be afraid." Lu Kuan's eyes flashed with excitement when he heard Elder Qian's description. His body even trembled. Elder Qian touched his waist and a jade bottle appeared in his hand. He tossed it to Lu Kuan and said, "Zhang Yang, this is a blood spirit pill. Every blood demon will be rewarded with 1 pill. It can help you break through the first 3 bottlenecks of the blood demon technique." Lu Kuan caught the jade bottle and carefully put it away after hearing Elder Qian's description. He couldn't help but ask, "Elder Qian, what if I need a second blood spirit pill?" Elder Qian continued, "The materials for the blood spirit pill are very precious. Even for our sect, it is a bit troublesome to refine one. You can either exchange for it with 50,000 contribution points or complete a special mission." Lu Kuan was speechless when he heard this. It wasn't easy for him to accumulate 5,000 contribution points in the past few years. If he wanted 50,000 contribution points, it would take at least a few decades. For a foundation establishment cultivator, it was a bit scary. He quickly asked, "What kind of mission does disciple need to complete?" Elder Qian waved his hand and a jade slip floated over from the bookshelf. He tossed it to Lu Kuan and said, "There are very few missions like this. However, if you can obtain enough demon stones in the E-Secret Realm 10 years from now, you can exchange them for blood spirit pills." Lu Kuan was incomparably shocked in his heart. He held the jade slip and revealed a confused expression as he said, "Yuan Mystic Realm?" Elder Qian waved his hand impatiently. The description of the Yuan Secret Realm is all in this jade slip. Blood Demon must go. I have other things to deal with. Go back and read it. Martial Nephew Fang will take you away. Lu Kuan bowed respectfully and left. Elder Qian silently watched Lu Kuan leave. He stood in the same place, lost in thought, and said in a low voice, "Master has been paying attention to disciples with mutated spiritual roots for the past 200 years. Now that this Zhang Yang has learned the blood devil art, I have to report it to him." Elder Qian also left the cave residence and turned into an escape light, shooting towards the highest mountain peak in the north of the Blood Devil Valley. Half a day later, Lu Kuan returned to his cave residence. He did not expect that after acquiring the blood devil art, he would become the blood demon of the blood refining sect. Elder Qian said that he was the 6th blood demon, which meant that there were only 6 blood demon below the nascent soul stage. Thinking about the hundreds of foundation establishment stage cultivators in the blood refining sect, he knew how difficult it was to meet the requirements of the blood devil art. With the identity of the blood demon, I have the information of the Yuan secret realm. Moreover, the blood demon must enter the secret realm, which saves me a lot of trouble. Lu Kuan opened the jade slip given to him by Elder Qian and explored it with his spirit sense. Gradually, the information of the Yuan secret realm was revealed in front of him. This Yuan secret realm was indeed related to the Yuan sect, just as Lu Kuan had guessed. However, the description of the Yuan sect in the jade slip was brief. It only said that it was a top sect in ancient times. The Yuan secret realm opened once every 300 years. It was located in the central region of the Qi Kingdom. This region was called the Central Region of the Qi Kingdom. It was connected to the north, south, east, and west region. It was only a few thousand miles in size. Unlike the other 4 regions, there was no spirit chi or demon chi all year round. The environment was exactly the same as the Dead Sea. Immortal cultivators could not cultivate here. Every 300 years there would be an explosion of aura in the central region. In addition to demon chi and spirit chi, there would also be a large amount of demon chi. The 3 types of aura mixed together and formed a chaotic storm like the chaotic sea. This scene would last for a year. After a year, the aura would dissipate in a few days. It was really incredible, and during the period of time when the chaotic aura erupted, a mysterious giant cave would appear at the center of the central province. That was the entrance to the Yuan secret realm. This Yuan secret realm was like the chaotic aura outside. It would only exist for a year. After a year, it would disappear without a trace. The 3 demon sects of the Qi Kingdom and the top sects of the West region all had the means to enter the Yuan secret realm. Every time, they would bring a large number of disciples to snatch the resources inside the secret realm. Ever since the Yuan secret realm was revealed 10,000 years ago, it had been explored by the sects of the Qi Kingdom. The situation inside was described in detail. The secret realm had 2 layers. Other than the specific means to enter, there was also a cultivation restriction. The first layer could only be entered by foundation establishment stage cultivators. The second layer corresponded to core formation stage cultivators. These 2 layers were relatively independent and the area was extremely vast. After so many years of exploration, the sects knew that each layer was equivalent to the size of a region. The jade slip in Lu Kuan's hand only had an introduction to the first layer of the secret realm. It was an area that foundation establishment stage disciples could explore. This layer was filled with dense demon chi. There was no spirit chi. There were all kinds of mysterious and dangerous places inside, filled with large numbers of demon beasts. There were also refining materials and medicinal herbs that contained pure demon chi. However, the most important thing was the unique demon stones. These demon stones were similar to spirit stones in that they contained pure demon chi. In the Qi Kingdom, only the top sects like the blood refining sect were filled with pure demon chi. It could increase the cultivation speed of demon arts and also speed up the recovery of demon chi. It was fine if it was just an ordinary demonic art. Spirit chi could also be cultivated and converted into magic power. If it was a top demon art, the conversion efficiency of spirit chi would be extremely low. However, it was different with demon stones. Not only could it increase the recovery speed of demon chi, it could also assist in the cultivation of demon art. It was a treasure that demon cultivators yearned for even in their dreams. The blood refining sect sent their disciples into the Yuan secret realm to collect large amounts of demon stones for the sect. In addition, the blood refining sect's disciples could also find various treasures that were helpful to demon art. Of course, the rewards were often accompanied by risk. Other than the various restrictions and ferocious demon beasts in the secret realm, the disciples of other sects were also a huge threat. The top sects would often send powerful people to take advantage of the secret realm to weaken the strength of their opponent. Lu Kuan finished reading the jade slip and his eyes flashed. He frowned and said, "The foundation establishment layer doesn't seem to have any immortal's cave. There are only demon Dao materials, demon stones, and demon beasts. There isn't the Yuan sect's secret technique that I want. Could it be the level of the core formation stage?" Lu Kuan shook his head and put away the jade slip. Chapter 667. Lu Kuan sat cross-legged in the secret chamber of the Immortal's Cave, carefully pondering the first 3 layers of the blood demon art in his mind. Previously in the first layer of the blood demon cave, the black magic ball was not only the place where the true demon will resided, but it was also a type of spiritual will imparting magic tool. It directly transmitted the cultivation method into Lu Kuan's mind. What he obtained now was the foundation establishment stage cultivation method of the blood demon art. As for the cultivation method after the core formation stage, it was obvious that he would have to undergo a new test in the second layer of the blood demon art with his early core formation stage cultivation. According to the situation in the first layer of the blood demon cave, although such a test was life-threatening, it was also a necessary condition to cultivate the blood demon art. With Lu Kuan's careful study, the mysteries of the blood demon art also appeared in front of him. The first 3 layers of the blood demon art corresponded to the early, middle, and late stages of the foundation establishment stage. When the first 3 layers were cultivated to the large success stage, one would enter the great circle of the foundation establishment stage and could attempt to break through to the core formation stage. The beginning of the first layer of the blood demon art, which was also the most important step, was to completely transform the liquid magic power in the body of the cultivator into demonic spiritual power, referred to as demonic power. Lu Kuan could be considered to have done some research on demonic power. He and several of his disciples had killed many demonic cultivators above the foundation establishment stage and naturally obtained some demonic cultivation method. Through these methods, he learned that most of the demonic cultivation methods cultivated demonic power. Demonic power and the 5 elements of the traditional cultivator's magic power had a huge difference. It could be said to have a special attribute, which was the demonic attribute. This attribute had a lot of special advantages. It could stimulate a variety of strange effects, such as a strong power of filth that could corrode a cultivator's magic tools and magic treasures. It could also enhance the power of some illusions and affect the enemy's mind. In addition, many people chose demonic cultivation for its powerful attack power. Compared to the 5 elements, the demonic attribute's power was stronger than the fire attribute, but less than the heterogeneous attribute. Of course, not all demonic powers could exert powerful power. The key was the degree of purity of the demonic power. According to the degree of purity of the demonic power cultivated, there were many demonic cultivation methods. The higher the rank of the demonic cultivation method, the purer the demonic power cultivated. The blood magic art of the blood refining sect was one of the top devil path cultivation method. The demonic energy it cultivated was extremely pure. Therefore, the demonic Tao artifacts, magic treasures, and demonic Tao spells activated by the demonic blood magic art were able to display even greater power. No matter if it was a high-grade or low-grade devil art, they were all inseparable from the rich spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Although top-grade demonic arts were powerful, the requirements for cultivation were also quite high. In addition to one's aptitude, demonic chi was also indispensable in the cultivation environment. The more powerful a demonic art was, the more demonic chi was required to cultivate it. This was the reason why the devil Tao sects were so prosperous in the state of Qi, a country where both devil Qi and spirit Qi were mixed. Lu Kuan had racked his brains to obtain the blood demon art. He wanted to use this art to cultivate the demonic power in his blood. On the one hand, it was to solve the hidden danger of the blood in his body. On the other hand, after he cultivated the blood magic power, he could transport the magic power to the depths of his bones and collide with the thunder magic power. The destructive energy produced would temper his bones and accelerate the formation of the bone treasure. As for the cultivation of the blood magic power, Lu Kuan had once thought of a way to cultivate it. That was to first cultivate the demonic power in his muscles. Then, he would follow the body cultivator's cultivation system and gradually cultivate the demonic power in his bones. Then, step by step, it would be transformed into the blood magic power through his bone marrow. Unfortunately, this method was impossible for Lu Kuan to realize for 2 major reasons. First, he had already entered the bone treasure stage with the Imperial Thunder Body refinement art. his bones had already formed into the thunder attribute bone treasure material. Even if he cultivated the demonic power in his muscles, under the obstruction of the bone treasure, there was no way to compress it into the depths of his bones. Not to mention, there were still hidden dangers in the depths of his bones. Second, the demonic Tao cultivation methods Lu Kuan had before were all ordinary. The demonic power cultivated from them was definitely not very pure. Even if the demonic power with low purity entered his blood, it would probably be easily destroyed by the thunder magic power in his bones. However, it was different with the blood demon art. On one hand, the blood demon art was a top-grade demonic art. The demonic power cultivated from it was extremely pure. On the other hand, it contained a secret art that could directly cultivate the demonic power of blood. These 2 points solved the previous 2 problems. I didn't expect the blood demon art to induce the demonic power of blood in such a way. After Lu Kuan finished browsing, he murmured, his eyes revealing a contemplative look. Through the use of the blood demon arts, a cultivator would be able to cultivate the secret technique of the blood demon arts after they had just built their foundation into demonic spiritual energy. This would allow their blood to produce spiritual energy, thus allowing them to display the strength of this technique. With the pure demonic power of the blood demon art in the body, the cultivator could activate a unique blood essence burning method. This method used the demonic power and blood essence in the body as fuel, burning a special flame all over the body. This special flame would not hurt the body, but under its influence, the energy of the true demonic will scattered in the body would be burned out and slowly melt into the blood. This was why, in order to obtain the blood demon art, one must withstand the test of the true demonic will, in order to use the secret art to melt the true demonic will into the blood of the cultivator. According to the description in the blood demon art, the more the true demonic will, the easier it was to burn the blood essence, and the greater the change in the blood. But if there was no energy of the true demonic will in the body, then even if the cultivator cultivated the blood demon art, it would be impossible to cultivate the demonic power of blood, and the blood demon art would lose its greatest magical power. When the energy of the true demonic will entered the blood, the cultivator's blood would undergo some changes, and through the secret art of the blood demon art, the demonic power in the body, according to a certain proportion, could be slowly transformed into demonic power of blood. In addition to cultivating the demonic power of the Dantian, the cultivator also had to cultivate the demonic power of blood, causing this cultivation method to consume a lot of time and energy, and the demand for demonic power was also much higher. With the cultivation of the demonic power of blood, the changes in the cultivator's blood would gradually deepen, and when the cultivator reached the peak of the early stage of the foundation stage, they would need to activate the secret art of burning the blood essence again. But this time, they would burn the blood itself, catalyzing a trace of the mysterious energy of the blood into the Dantian, thereby helping to break through the bottleneck of the foundation stage. Of course, this method of breaking through was extremely dangerous, and it was very likely that the mysterious energy in the blood would still not enter the Dantian when the blood essence was burned out. The blood spirit pill that Elder Qian had given Lu Kuan before was to be taken at this time. The blood spirit pill was made from the crystallized blood of nearly 100 qi refining stage cultivators and many demonic materials. When taken at the time of a breakthrough in the blood demon art, it could let the blood essence burn for a longer time, and had a catalytic effect on the mysterious energy in the blood, so the blood spirit pill could increase the chances of breaking through the first 3 levels of the blood demon art. Lu Kuan opened his eyes, and they bloomed with surprise. Mo Hun should be right, the blood demon art is indeed the best way to solve the hidden problems in my body. Chapter 668. Lu Kuan looked at his body, touched his chin, and said, "In the depths of my bones, there is a blood crystal that contains the true demon will. As long as I use my blood to guide it out carefully, I should be able to make the blood demon secret technique advance by leaps and bounds. But this blood is just a primer to guide the demon power in. So, I still need to convert the magic power in my muscles into demon power first. Only then can I try the method in the blood demon secret technique to cultivate the blood demon power. He was different from traditional cultivators. Ordinary Foundation establishment cultivators had liquid magic power in their dantian, but his magic power was stored in his body. However, with the top cultivation method of the blood demon secret technique, he could combine his own situation and deduce how to convert the magic power in his muscles into demon power. 100 years ago, Lu Kuan used Ling Yuetian's Vajra mantra, 5 elemental fist arts, and the 5 elemental cultivation techniques of the immortal cultivators as a reference. Combined with the arm connection theurgy, the mystery of using the arm to cast a spell light shield, he created the mana of the flesh and stepped onto the path of body refinement. Later, Lu Kuan and Xiao Jin worked together to create the demon attraction technique, which used demon qi. After so many years of derivation and cultivation of body refinement techniques, and now with a top-notch demonic technique like the blood demon technique, Lu Kuan was naturally quite confident in transforming the demonic energy in his muscles. Next, Lu Kuan closed his eyes, felt the faint demon qi in the blood demon mountain range, and began to deduce and experiment. At the same time, in the southwest of Nanzhou, in a valley outside the middle section of the Abyss of Death, various magic tools were surging with spiritual light, full of cold yin power. About 100 human cultivators were fighting with all kinds of undead creatures. A small part of these undead creatures were zombies, but most of them were mutated demon beasts. The demon power in their bodies had all been converted into cold yin power. Their opponents were all cultivators at the qi refining stage. They were in groups of 2 or 3, besieging an undead creature. These people were naturally the low-level disciples of the blood refining sect who had accepted the Abyss of Death mission. Without building a base to deal with the undead creatures, they worked together to completely suppress the undead creatures. Even if a disciple fell into a disadvantageous position, he would still use a purple talisman. Activating the lightning palm spell, he killed the undead creature in one fell swoop. In the sky above the valley, there were 5 Foundation establishment cultivators using flying magic tools. They all looked at the scene in the valley with different expressions. One of them was Su Zihong. He didn't feel any joy at the overwhelming battle of the lower-level disciples. Instead, he looked at the 3 cracks on the mountain wall with a cautious expression. These fissures were several zhang high and 7 to 8 feet long. The dark fissures slowly emitted cold yin energy. The cold yin energy in the valley, apart from the undead creatures, mostly came from the fissures. After several days of investigation, Su Zihong and the others found this rather hidden valley and discovered the undead creatures inside. When the Qi condensation disciples who had accepted the mission saw these undead creatures, it was as if they had seen a treasure. They immediately rushed up to fight. Junior brother Su, it seems that the undead creatures that attacked our sect's encampment came from here. A pale-skinned young man next to Su Zihong shook his head and said. His name was Chen Hua, and he was a direct descendant of the blood-refining sect's Chen family. The reward for this mission was quite generous, so the Chen family naturally wouldn't let it go. Thus, they arranged for 4 Chen family disciples to participate. Su Zihong was not a disciple of the Chen family, but he was arranged to come in. In Chen Hua's view, he was most likely a disciple of a core formation cultivator who came to take the mission. Su Zihong frowned. This place is not far from the Death Abyss. Could those fissures be connected to the Death Abyss? Chen Hua chuckled. Junior brother Su, don't tell me you don't know the situation of the Death Abyss. The cliffs on both sides of the abyss are protected by mysterious ancient restrictions. According to my Chen family's ancestor, these ancient restrictions use a strong cold yin energy. The restriction power is amazing. Even the strength of a nascent soul middle-stage cultivator can't break it. How could the fissures in front of us be connected to the death abyss? Su Zihong heard the sarcasm in Chen Hua's words, but he wasn't angry. As the blood devil's son, it was naturally better for fewer people to know his identity. This way, he would be safer. As for Zhang Yang asking him about the Blood Devil Cave, it was Elder Qian who told him in advance. Otherwise, how could Su Zihong reveal the information that he cultivated the Blood Devil technique so easily? Su Zihong glanced at Chen Hua and said indifferently, "Senior brother Chen, do you want to explore the fissures below?" Chen Hua was a little unhappy. This Su Zihong was only at the early stage of foundation establishment. When he spoke to him, he was not polite at all. He rolled his eyes and said, "Of course, this place is not connected to the death abyss. Naturally, there are treasures containing cold Yin energy in the depths of the fissures. If such treasures are contributed to the sect, they can be exchanged for a lot of contribution points. After all, there are many elders in the sect who are proficient in refining corpses." Chen Hua continued, "I don't know if junior brother Su is interested in going down with us to explore. At that time, we can also confirm that what senior brother said is true." Su Zihong raised his eyebrows. He naturally also knew about the restriction of the death abyss. His previous guess was just a feeling. This death abyss was the middle area. Even if he entered the death abyss, he would at most encounter undead creatures at the late stage of foundation establishment. With his strength as the blood devil, he did not have much fear. Therefore, Su Zihong slightly raised the corner of his mouth and said, "Since senior brother Chen is interested, then let's go in and explore." Apart from Chen Hua, the other three disciples of the Chen family were only at the early stage of foundation establishment. Naturally, Chen Hua was the leader. At this time, the battle of the Qi refinement disciples below was gradually ending. Chen Hua urged his magic power and transmitted his voice. "The disciples who have finished the battle have recovered their magic power. After we recover, we will enter the fissures ahead. The cold Yin energy here is a little strange. There are likely to be treasures containing cold Yin energy in the three fissures. If you can find these treasures, you can exchange them with us for a lot of contribution points." Chen Hua's words made many disciples below reveal excited expressions. The undead creatures that they just killed, if they returned to the sect, were already a big harvest. If they found a treasure with cold Yin energy, then this mission would be a big gain. They might even be able to exchange it for 2 foundation establishment pills at once. Su Zihong looked at the disciples below and couldn't help but think more highly of Chen Hua. He originally thought that this person was quite reckless and did not consider the potential danger in the fissures. It turned out that this guy wanted a large number of Qi refinement disciples to act as pathfinders. Even if there were undead creatures at the foundation establishment stage, with the Qi refinement disciples as a buffer, they could calmly attack from behind, greatly increasing their safety. Chapter 669. The middle section of the Death Abyss was a cliff that was hundreds of feet deep. Compared to the bottom section, which was tens of thousands of feet deep, it was much shallower. However, the distance between the cliffs was wider, about 10 miles. The bottom of the abyss was filled with dense cold Yin energy, and from time to time, all kinds of strange cries could be heard. The surrounding rocks and soil, under the invasion of the cold Yin energy for tens of thousands of years, had already changed into another form, turning into a dark gray color. The soil and rock walls were also very hard. Escape techniques such as the Earth Escape technique would definitely be ineffective here. The spiritual energy in the air of the abyss was extremely scarce. If there was an immortal cultivator here, it would be extremely difficult to cast all kinds of spells, and the consumption of magic power would greatly increase. Except for some immortal cultivators who cultivated corpse refining techniques, most people were not willing to enter the death abyss. The flesh and blood of immortal cultivators were incomparably delicious to the undead creatures here. In an environment filled with cold energy, if one did not constantly use the concealment technique, even the slightest trace of a living person's breath would immediately be attacked by a large number of undead creatures. In the underground corner of the middle section of the Death Abyss, there was an obscure cave. The entrance of the cave looked like it had been cut open by a sharp blade, exuding a strange aura. From time to time, hissing and buzzing sounds could be heard from the cave. Countless fist-sized flying ants with a pair of large evil teeth on their heads were flying and crawling everywhere. They looked similar to the nether flying ants that Lu Kuan encountered, but their bodies were one size larger. These flying ants' movements were orderly, and they were divided into countless groups, like marching troops, shuttling through the rocks below. Upon closer inspection, these flying ants were gnawing on the restrictive halos on some rocks in order, and the restrictive halos they gnawed on were completely different. Countless flying ants shuttled through the ground, forming a tunnel that extended in all directions, as if it covered the entire abyss. In the deepest part of this complex tunnel, there was a room-sized cave, and there were two ferocious insect-like creatures inside. One of them looked like a giant scorpion, but the details were different. The creature's front claws were not scorpion pincers, but two shiny gray blades. These blades were embedded in the creature's front limbs, as if they grew out of its body. Its head was similar to a scorpion's, with two compound eyes hidden in a thick chitin shell, exuding a cunning gaze. If someone tried to attack its eyes, it only needed to dodge slightly, and the hard shell would block the attack. Below the compound eyes, it had 4 jaws, which also looked very hard. When they were closed, they were like armor with no holes, and when they opened, they were mouthparts that could swallow the enemy. The creature's torso was even longer than a scorpion's. It was covered in a hard, grayish-black shell. The edges of the chitin shell were covered in tiny spikes. Behind it was its tail. Unlike a scorpion, its long whip-like tail had 4 sharp blades. At the intersection of the blades and the tail, there was a green air sac that seemed to be filled with dangerous toxins. This scorpion-like ferocious creature exuded a dense and cold aura. It was almost as strong as the peak of the completion level. Opposite this scorpion was a 7-foot-tall fat ant. Its aura was even more profound. The giant ant's body was very thick, and its body was covered in a hard gray armor. Unlike the small flying ants outside, it didn't have huge jaws on its head. Instead, it had 4 palm-sized teeth embedded in its mouth, and 2 antennae that swayed agilely. Compared to its huge body, the ant's limbs were very short, and it looked like they couldn't support it to walk. Therefore, it was lying on the ground with its limbs stretched out in a relaxed manner. The abdomen of the giant ant took up more than half of its body. There was no armor on the sides and below of its abdomen, only soft yellow skin. From time to time, a white insect egg would slowly fall from the tail of its abdomen. Behind it, there were many fist-sized insect eggs. A group of small flying ants came and moved the eggs away one by one. 2 tyrannical divine senses were transmitted from the bodies of these 2 creatures. The antennae on the fat ant's forehead trembled, and a thought was transmitted. Abyss Scorpion, I hope your plan works. I've already spent thousands of years accumulating energy to create so many nether flying ants. If your plan fails, I won't be able to return to the depths of the abyss. The scorpion swung its tail twice, and a thought was transmitted. Abyss Ant, I've also spent a lot of energy to help you create nether flying ants. When I escaped from the land of death, I had the strength of a 9th-grade insect general. Now that I've given you more than half of my energy, I'm only left with the strength of a 7th-grade insect. The giant ant called Abyss Ant heard this, and its soul fluctuated even more violently. You're only a 9th-grade insect general, and I'm a 10th-grade insect general. In a few thousand years, I might become an insect king. Abyss Scorpion waved the sharp blade in his hand. Abyss Ant, I've helped you activate the bloodline inheritance. You should know that without the sacred relic of our race, it's impossible to become an insect king. Hearing this, Abyss Ant fell silent, and the antennae on its forehead seemed listless. Abyss Scorpion, you're right. Without the sacred relic of our race, it's impossible to become an insect king in this other world. Abyss Scorpion was a little excited. That's why I found you not long after I escaped. I didn't hesitate to use up the energy I've accumulated for so many years to obtain the sacred relic of our race. After our experiments these days, the nearby 10 ultimate abyss formation has loosened. If we work hard for another 10 years, we might be able to break through that restriction and enter the depths of the Yuan's secret realm where the sacred relic of our race is sealed. 10 years from now will be the time when the restriction will be the weakest. Abyss Ant's compound eyes turned, and a thought was transmitted. After so many years in the abyss, I've devoured some high-level human cultivators. I know that the Yuan sect's secret realm began to open 10,000 years ago, and many of the Yuan sect's tokens were leaked out. The time when the restriction is weak is also the time when humans enter the Yuan secret realm. If you go in, I'm afraid you'll encounter a large number of human cultivators. In these tens of thousands of years, humans have improved the cultivation methods of the demon race, and their strength can't be considered weak. Abyss Scorpion's compound eyes flashed, and a disdainful tone was in the thought. Although I'm only at the 7th level now, I have the tough body of a 9th level insect general. I can kill early nascent soul cultivators without hesitation, let alone a core formation cultivator. At this moment, the antennae on Abyss Ant's head suddenly trembled, as if it had received some kind of message. It transmitted its thought. Abyss Scorpion, Human Foundation Establishment cultivators have appeared in the area where we destroyed the restriction of the 10 ultimate Abyss formation. It seems that they were attracted by the undead creatures that went out. Abyss Scorpion sharpened the sharp blades on its forelimbs. This is the territory of the human blood refining sect, and there are late nascent soul cultivators. Our strength has been greatly reduced, so let's not alarm them for the time being. I'll chase away a few late Foundation establishment undead creatures and scare them away. In any case, the restriction there will be restored to normal in a few days. Chapter 670. Blood Refining Sect. Inside Zhang Yang's abode in the southern mountain range, Lu Kuan sat cross-legged in a secret room. His body emitted all kinds of fluctuations, and the surrounding spirit energy and demonic energy revolved around him. His forehead was slightly sweaty, and he seemed to be struggling. After an unknown amount of time, the spirit energy and demonic energy outside his body dissipated. Lu Kuan slowly opened his eyes. Strange, there shouldn't be any problems with the formula I derived. Why can't I produce demonic energy? Lu Kuan's eyes flashed with doubt. He was obviously puzzled by the failure just now. In the past few days, Lu Kuan hadn't thought of a way to convert magic power into demonic energy. Instead, he had been creating a formula to directly produce muscle demonic energy. The transformation of magic power in the blood demon art was suitable for traditional cultivators whose magic power was in the dantian. Lu Kuan simply deduced and found that this transformation couldn't be carried out in the muscle fibers. The magic power in his muscles was very resistant to demonic energy and couldn't be directly transformed. He simply changed his way of thinking. According to the cultivation method of the first 3 layers of the blood demon art, he directly absorbed the surrounding spirit energy and demonic energy in an attempt to fuse them into demonic energy. According to his rich experience in body refining and the blood demon arts cultivation method, Lu Kuan successfully summarized a set of formulas to produce muscle demonic energy. In theory, body refining disciples could use this method to produce demonic energy. However, theory was just theory. When Lu Kuan cultivated, he found that no matter how he urged, the demonic energy was always stuck at the key point and couldn't be formed. Lu Kuan looked at his body and raised his eyebrows. Producing muscle demonic energy, according to the realm, is equivalent to the cultivation method of the muscle refining stage. Although I have temporarily lost the magic power of the core formation stage, my body is still at the treasure bone stage. The muscles of the treasure bone stage are much stronger than those of the muscle refining stage. This may be a hindrance. Fortunately, I have entered the treasure bone stage. The thunder attribute magic power in my muscles has all condensed into my bones. Otherwise, my muscles would be more resistant to demonic energy. Lu Kuan rubbed his chin, vaguely aware of the reason. It seems that my muscles are too strong and have a stronger affinity with spiritual energy, so it is difficult for my muscles to form magic power. If the muscles are too strong, magic power will not be able to form. In other words, the surrounding magic power is not dense enough. If the magic power is dense enough, it will offset the affinity of the muscles to spiritual energy, and it should succeed. Lu Kuan stood up and paced back and forth. As the Blood Devil, the higher-ups in the sect will definitely pay attention to me. If I don't have any demonic power in my body, and I still use the area with dense demonic aura to cultivate, it might arouse suspicion. Lu Kuan thought of a solution. Other than the dense demonic aura, magic stones are also a solution. But how do I obtain magic stones? Thinking of this, he suddenly thought of something and immediately took out the storage bag at his waist. With a flash of light, a silver metal box appeared on the ground. This was a box made of spirit extinction ore, which could isolate the aura inside. Lu Kuan opened the silver metal box, and a dense demonic aura rushed out. It was full of black gravel. He grabbed a handful and carefully felt it. His eyes lit up. Why didn't I think of this before? In the depths of the Sea of Death's Demon Cave, there is a cave with a demonic pool. The rocks there have been tempered by pure demonic aura for so many years, and they contain pure demonic aura energy. How can they be simple gravel? This is all thanks to Senior Brother Qin. He thought that these gravel were refining materials for the demonic path, so he collected them all. Lu Kuan looked at the box of hundreds of gravel and was very excited. He grabbed a handful of magic stones with both hands, sat down cross-legged, and began to circulate the spell technique from before. Gradually, a dense black demonic aura drifted out from these gravel and entered Lu Kuan's body. At the same time, some spiritual energy in the air was mixed in. Lu Kuan's muscles began to twitch rhythmically. Gradually, a black light began to appear outside his body, and the unique aura of a demonic path cultivation method faintly spread out. In this way, after half a day, a pure demonic aura emerged from Lu Kuan's body. Although it was only the aura of an early Foundation establishment cultivator, in terms of purity, it was far from what an ordinary demonic cultivator could compare to. Lu Kuan opened his eyes. He looked at the gravel in his hand, and the corners of his mouth curled up. Sure enough, my guess was not wrong. Only with the help of dense demonic aura can one cultivate the demonic power of their muscles. He felt that there was still pure demonic aura left in the gravel. These gravel were most likely the magic stones that made demonic cultivators go crazy. Lu Kuan spat out a mouthful of turbid air. At this time, all the muscle fibers in his body were filled with liquid demonic power. He didn't know if it was because of the blood demon art or the magic stones in his hand, but the demonic power in his body was very pure. In his perception, it was not much different from the demonic power cultivated by Su Zihong. Su Zihong must also be a blood demon. It should be normal that the demonic power cultivated by me is so pure. After muttering, Lu Kuan began to operate the demonic power in his muscles to familiarize himself with this new energy. Whether it was the previous spiritual aura, magical power, demonic aura, thunder attribute magical power, or body cultivator's cultivation, they were all used to temper the body. After the body became stronger, it could accommodate more and purer energy, forming a virtuous cycle. As the demonic power operated in his body, Lu Kuan understood the demonic power more and more. At this moment, the demonic power in his body could not temper his muscles. This was normal. His bone treasure stage muscles could not be tempered by the demonic power of an early foundation establishment cultivator. Despite this, Lu Kuan also found that this demonic power was different from the traditional magical power. His muscles were too strong, and there was no way to temper them. But if it was used by a low-level body cultivator, the tempering effect would definitely be better than the 5 elements body refining secret. Lu Kuan muttered to himself, "If I continue to derive the demonic power method that I just created, there should be a new body refining method that uses demonic power as the main energy to temper the body. It can be called a body refining demonic technique." But then Lu Kuan pondered for a moment and shook his head. Although demonic power is more effective in tempering the muscles, according to the situation of the demonic power that I formed, demonic power requires a stronger body than magical power to carry it. I'm afraid that only the body that has entered the blood condensation stage can cultivate it. Lu Kuan couldn't help but frown. But for the body cultivator of the blood condensation stage, there is still a source of magical power in the muscles, which fundamentally conflicts with the demonic power. Unlike the bone treasure stage, the source of magical power in the muscles, blood, and internal organs are condensed into the bones. Lu Kuan had rich experience in body refining. After analyzing it, he found that this body refining demonic technique was impossible for low-level disciples to cultivate successfully. First of all, the body refining demonic technique requires at least the muscle strength of the blood condensation stage to cultivate. Secondly, there can't be a source of magical power in the muscles, otherwise it can't produce demonic power. In this way, it seems that only the body cultivator of the bone treasure stage can cultivate demonic power. The muscles of the bone treasure stage, whether it is the strength or the body, completely meet the requirements of demonic power generation. However, the body cultivator of the bone treasure stage does not need demonic power to temper the muscles. But if the demonic power of the blood is produced, it is different. The demonic power of my condensed muscles is at the level of the foundation establishment stage. The demonic power of the blood should be the same, but I don't know how effective it is. Chapter 671. According to the description of the blood demon art, when the cultivator's blood contained the energy of the true demon intent, they would be able to form an indescribable connection with the demon force, thereby attracting the demon force into the blood. In other words, the energy of the true demon intent was the bridge between the blood and the demon force, allowing the two to converge. Without such a bridge, no cultivator would be able to cultivate the demon force in the blood. At this moment, Lu Kuan was operating the demon force in his muscles, urging the secret technique of the blood demon art to cultivate the demon force in his blood. Although the demon force in his muscles was somewhat different from the demon force in his dantian, the activation of the secret technique was similar to the casting of spells. The demon force in his muscles could also be activated. The secret technique of the blood demon art first agitated the demon force, causing it to produce a special wave of demon force, which was used to sense the energy in the blood. It was similar to low-level cultivators who had just entered the ranks of immortal cultivators, sensing the spirit chi of heaven and earth. Only then could they proceed to the next step. Almost at the moment when the secret technique was activated, Lu Kuan felt a connection between the blood and the demon force, but this connection was not as strong as he had imagined. He raised his eyebrows and stimulated his heart to contract, speeding up the flow of blood in his body, causing it to quickly pass through his bones and wash away the crystallization of the true demon intent in the depths of his bones. As some of the true demon intent was brought out by the blood, the connection became stronger. However, the true demon intent's brutal intent also appeared, causing Lu Kuan's body to tremble faintly. Fortunately, this intent was only a small amount. With Lu Kuan's divine sense at the peak of the middle core formation stage, he was able to resist it. Although it was not a hindrance, it still made his heart tighten. He quickly locked onto the connection in his blood and urged the next secret technique of the blood demon art, causing the demon force in his muscles to quickly circulate in his body. The demon force in his muscles seemed to be guided by something. It madly scattered from all parts of his body, crossed his blood vessels, and entered his blood. Soon, the demon force appeared in his blood, and at the same time, the demon force in his muscles decreased at an extremely fast speed. Feeling this phenomenon, Lu Kuan raised his eyebrows. He clenched the demon stone with both hands, absorbing the rich demon chi from it to replenish the demon force in his muscles. Moreover, as the mana appeared in his blood, the brutal intent seemed to have been absorbed and disappeared. The mana in Lu Kuan's blood also showed an unusual change. It was vaguely different from the mana in his muscles. Lu Kuan couldn't tell what the difference was, but it was true that the violent thoughts had disappeared. Unfortunately, after only an hour, he had no choice but to stop. The mana consumption of his muscles had already surpassed his absorption speed. In such a short time, his muscles' mana had already been completely consumed. Phew, I didn't expect that just a little bit of true demon intent could have such a great effect, and the brutal intent that was brought into the blood really disappeared after coming into contact with the magic power. Lu Kuan's face lit up with joy. Although the devil soul had said that the blood devil art could solve the problem, he felt that it was feasible. But now that it was really effective, he let out a sigh of relief. The magic power in my muscles of the early stage of foundation establishment has been completely exhausted, and only a small amount of magic power has been produced in my blood. This conversion ratio is really too low. Thinking of this, Lu Kuan's pupils shrank as he faintly thought of a possibility. He immediately replenished his muscles' mana. When his muscles' mana was full, Lu Kuan continued to operate the secret technique. This time, when he was converting, he focused on the conversion ratio. As his cultivation progressed, he shockingly discovered that the conversion ratio of his muscles' mana to his blood's mana was 9:1. In other words, 9 parts of his muscles' mana would produce 1 part of his blood's mana. He had consumed all of his early-stage foundation establishment mana, but the amount of blood's mana he cultivated was only a little more than 10%. The efficiency was extremely low. Isn't this the conversion ratio of my blood's mana when I was in the blood condensation realm? Such a scene couldn't help but remind Lu Kuan of his blood condensation realm, as well as the body cultivation aptitude he had defined. Lu Kuan set the body cultivation aptitude according to the conversion ratio of his blood condensation realm magic power, from 1 star to 9 stars. His own blood's conversion ratio was 9:1, so he had a 9-star physique. Zhao Qingtian and the others had a 3-star physique to 5-star physique. 9-star physiques. In the blood condensation realm, a 9:1 blood's mana conversion ratio would allow one to cultivate for a longer time. But when breaking through the bottleneck of the great circle of body tempering realm, it would be easier to condense a bone treasure's mana crystal in the depths of the bone marrow, reducing the obstacles of breaking through to the bone treasure stage. He didn't expect that when he cultivated his blood's mana through the blood demon art, such a ratio would appear once again. According to the characteristics of a 9-star physique, although it requires more mana conversion, later on Lu Kuan's eyes suddenly shone. He faintly discovered that body cultivation aptitude would be more helpful to his future cultivation. First, I'll cultivate my blood's mana to full and completely eliminate the hidden dangers. According to the description of the blood demon art, the amount of mana cultivated from one's blood was between 30 to 50%. A person with good aptitude could very likely obtain 50% of the same level of blood's mana after cultivating for a short time. The first time he cultivated his blood's mana was in the early foundation establishment realm. The second time he cultivated it was in the middle foundation establishment realm, which was the second layer of the blood demon art. At the second layer, under the cultivation of the blood demon art, the blood gradually changed and could hold more mana. In this way, the second layer of the blood demon art's blood's mana was at the middle foundation establishment realm. The third layer was the same. This was completely different from Lu Kuan's body cultivation method. In the blood condensation realm, even if a body cultivator cultivated to the peak, their blood could only hold the mana of the middle foundation establishment realm. And to reach the mana of the late foundation establishment realm, it was necessary to increase the internal organs as a container to store mana. The uniqueness of the blood magic art lay in the fact that as one's cultivation increased, the blood itself could be improved. If the blood was used as a container, then as one cultivated, the density and capacity of the blood would slowly increase, and it would be able to hold more magic power. Thinking about the differences between the blood demon art and the body cultivation method, Lu Kuan felt that his current situation was a little different. To improve the capacity of the blood, it should be slowly transformed by the energy of the true demon intent. There were many blood crystals of the true demon intent in the depths of his bones, so he did not need to spend a lot of time cultivating the blood demon art. As long as he continued to bring out the true demon intent, his blood would quickly change. So while he was transforming his blood's mana, he also accelerated the circulation of his blood, trying to bring out more of the true demon intent so that it could be absorbed by the blood demon art's mana. Lu Kuan wanted to know, with the true demon intent energy that other cultivators could not imagine, to what extent his blood's mana could be cultivated. What he needed to do now was to constantly absorb the devil chi into his muscles to form his muscles' mana. Then, through the blood demon art's secret technique, he would assist the true demon intent crystals in his bones to continue transforming them into blood's mana. Chapter 672. Lu Kuan's seclusion lasted for 2 whole years. During this time, something happened in the blood refining sect. It was the mission in the abyss of death. Nearly 100 Qi condensation stage disciples and 5 foundation establishment stage cultivators, but only a dozen or so people came back alive. As for the foundation establishment disciples, Su Zihong was the only one who survived. According to Su Zihong's description, the Death's Abyss was connected to the Death's Abyss at the bottom of the valley. There was a crack in the ancient restriction, and in the cave they explored, a zombie at the great circle of foundation establishment that was only 1 step away from the bronze-armored corpse, as well as 2 undead creatures at the late foundation establishment stage. The narrow underground cave was completely the home ground of these undead creatures at the foundation establishment stage. No matter how many Qi condensation cultivators there were, at most 5 or 6 of them could walk side by side in the same passage. Moreover, the zombie at the great circle of foundation establishment had been lurking underground. It deliberately circled around to the rear of the 5 foundation establishment cultivators and ambushed them. In just one confrontation, the Chun family disciples suffered heavy casualties. In the end, only Su Zihong calmly retreated. After the blood refining sect received the news of Su Zihong's return, they immediately sent 2 core formation cultivators to lead a team into the depths of the valley. They indeed found the undead creatures and killed them all. However, they didn't find the crack in the restriction that connected to the Death's Abyss, as Su Zihong had mentioned. In the end, the matter was left unsettled. In this mission, although the Qi condensation cultivators suffered heavy casualties, the dozen or so survivors returned to the sect and exchanged for a large amount of contribution points. In the following time, almost all of them entered the foundation establishment stage. After all, no matter how poor one's aptitude was, as long as one had enough foundation establishment pills, they could successfully enter the foundation establishment stage. After this incident, the blood refining sect specially strengthened the defenses near the death's abyss and arranged for disciples to patrol regularly. At the same time, they organized a group of foundation establishment disciples to explore the mountains and valleys near the death's abyss to see if there were other gathering points of undead creatures. In the southern mountain range of the blood refining sect, inside Zhang Yang's cave, Lu Kuan finished 2 years of cultivation. He slowly opened his eyes and exhaled a mouthful of turbid qi. In these 2 years of cultivation, Lu Kuan's muscle demonic power didn't change much. It was still at the early foundation establishment stage, but the demonic power in his blood was rapidly increasing. In the first few months, he first reached 30% of his magic power, then 50%. Soon, he reached 100%. In the next half a year, with the consumption of the true demon will, the capacity of the blood greatly increased, and the demonic power of the blood directly entered the middle stage of foundation establishment. It continued to increase to 50% of the middle stage of foundation establishment, and then to 100% of the middle stage of foundation establishment. Until today, 2 years later, Lu Kuan's blood contained the magical power of the Great Circle of Foundation Establishment. Now that he was fully stimulating the magical power in his blood, in addition to the surging magical power, he also exuded a brutal aura. If a cultivator's cultivation wasn't high enough, their mind would even be affected. The demonic power of his blood contained a will that could shake a person's soul. When Lu Kuan sensed the rich blood mana in his body, a mixture of joy and worry appeared on his face. He was happy, not because of the great increase in his demonic power, but because the purple-black blood essence in the depths of his bones had disappeared by half. This meant that the hidden danger in his body was gradually being resolved. What he was worried about was that after 2 years of cultivation, no matter how much he cultivated, the demonic power in his blood wouldn't increase. Similarly, there was no way to consume the remaining half of the true demon will in his bones. In these 2 years, it's obvious that the true demon will in my bones is a necessary energy for the blood demon art. No wonder the demonic soul said that my blood is like a fish in water after cultivating the blood demon art. But what's going on with this bottleneck? I still have more than half of the true demon will, and my soul is also at the core formation stage. Why can't I continue to cultivate? Lu Kuan sensed the blood in his body and fell silent. At this time, his blood had undergone a great change compared to 2 years ago. With the disappearance of half of the true demon will crystal, Lu Kuan's qi and blood power had also recovered by half. Under the imperceptible influence of the blood demon art, the color of his blood had turned purple-black, and because of some mutation, the density of his blood had increased several times compared to 2 years ago. As a result, when the blood was flowing, the pressure on the body would be even greater. Fortunately, Lu Kuan was a body cultivator at the treasure bone stage. His body was tyrannical, and his blood vessels were extremely tough. This pressure had no effect on him, but if it were other immortal cultivators, the blood vessels of their whole body would have burst. Even a body cultivator at a lower level might not be able to withstand such heavy blood. At this time, Lu Kuan's blood carried the demonic power of the Great Circle of Foundation Establishment. His qi and blood power was turbulent, and the demonic power of his muscles was at the early stage of Foundation Establishment. His current situation was probably unimaginable to the blood demon of the blood refining sect. There was someone who could cultivate the blood demon art to the terrifying realm of the Great Circle of Foundation Establishment with the demonic power of the early stage of Foundation Establishment. Lu Kuan felt that his qi and blood power had recovered by less than half. He murmured, "With the recovery of my qi and blood power, I can use the divine arm power. Unfortunately, I don't have the magic power of the core formation stage. I don't know how powerful it is." Clenching his fist, Lu Kuan gave up on using the divine arm power. At this time, he was in the mountain range of the blood refining sect's foundation establishment cultivators. If he used the divine arm power and revealed his core formation stage aura, it would be troublesome if the core formation stage cultivators sensed it. Do I have to find a way to get the blood demon art's core formation stage cultivation method? Lu Kuan murmured. According to the realm, even if the other blood demons had cultivated the great circle of blood demon art to the great circle of foundation establishment, they still couldn't compare with the demonic power of his blood. When the blood demons reached this realm, they would burn their blood essence for the third time. With the help of many auxiliary pills and techniques, they would begin to condense their golden core. After entering the core formation stage, they would go to the blood demon cave to obtain the blood demon art's core formation stage cultivation method. At that time, by cultivating the blood demon art's core formation stage cultivation method, they would be able to upgrade the demonic power in their blood to the core formation stage. However, Lu Kuan's cultivation was only at the early foundation establishment stage. It was impossible for him to enter the blood demon cave. If his demonic blood was discovered, he would definitely be captured by the nascent soul stage old monsters in the sect for research. Cultivating to the great circle of foundation establishment in 2 years was too shocking. Lu Kuan slowly withdrew his blood essence and looked at the silver iron box beside him. There were only a few black gravel left. He couldn't help but reveal a thoughtful expression. Could it be related to demonic qi? Previously, when Lu Kuan cultivated the demonic power of his muscles, the density of the demonic qi in the blood demon mountain range couldn't allow him to produce the demonic power of his muscles. Now, his demonic blood had reached the great circle of foundation establishment. Could it be that the requirement for demonic qi was higher? The more Lu Kuan thought about it, the more likely it was. Hundreds of devil stones have been consumed in these 2 years. It seems that I have to find a way to get more. For other demonic cultivators, devil stones could only be obtained by chance. They could only obtain large amounts of devil stones when the Yuan mystic realm appeared. However, for Lu Kuan, he had another place to obtain devil stones. Moreover, there was the true demon pool, a source of pure demonic qi. That was the Dead Sea Devil Cave. A few years ago, after Lu Kuan and the others escaped, the restriction token in their hands could still be used 4 times. He could definitely make another trip there. Chapter 673. After leaving the cave, Lu Kuan took out a flying magic tool and flew towards the entrance of the southern mountain range. Although magic power had turned into demonic power, it had no effect on the release of magic tools and spells of the 5 elements. However, the power of spells of the 5 elements would be reduced. Just like water attribute magic power and fire attribute spells, it was difficult to exert their true power due to mutual rejection. Just as Lu Kuan flew to the entrance and took out his sect token and was about to activate it, he suddenly exclaimed and turned to look at the pavilion not far away. A thin and wretched middle-aged man was sitting cross-legged inside. When he saw Lu Kuan, he was pleasantly surprised. He immediately cast a light body technique on himself and rushed over. Martial Uncle Zhang, long time no see. Junior Yuan Daju greets you. The middle-aged man skillfully saluted Lu Kuan with a fawning expression. Lu Kuan looked at this person and said in surprise, Yuan Daju, I haven't seen you for a few years and you've already reached the peak of qi refining. What benefits did you get? It turned out that this person was the qi refining disciple who guarded the entrance hall when Lu Kuan first entered the sect. He was quite famous among the low-level disciples of the blood refining sect and had enthusiastically introduced the situation of the blood refining sect to Lu Kuan. However, at that time, Yuan Daju's cultivation was only at the 10th level of qi refining. Lu Kuan didn't expect that after 7 years, this guy's cultivation had already reached the peak of qi refining. Yuan Dezhu chuckled and said, Junior's luck is pretty good. 2 years ago, I survived a large-scale mission and exchanged for 2 building foundation dawn. I took one of them, and only then did my cultivation improve. Lu Kuan nodded and no longer paid attention to him. He activated the token in his hand. Marshal Uncle Zhang, please wait. Junior is guarding the door and has a message for you. Yuan Dezhu saw that Lu Kuan was about to leave and quickly said. Lu Kuan raised his eyebrows and said, Who wants to pass a message for me? It's Ancestral Master Rong. He instructed the disciples guarding this place to bring you to the entrance hall the moment they see Marshal Uncle Zhang coming out of seclusion. I never expected that I would have the honor of meeting Marshal Uncle. Yuan Dezhu's tone was extremely respectful. It was obvious that after entering the foundation establishment stage, he felt even more reverence towards Zhang Yang. Lu Kuan immediately recalled the core formation cultivator who took him to the Oath Stone. He nodded and said, Okay, I will go see Marshal Uncle Rong. After he finished speaking, he opened the restriction on the exit and used the flying magic tool under his feet to turn into a beam of demonic light and shoot into the distance. Yuan Dezhu looked at Lu Kuan's departing figure and breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, he wiped the sweat from his forehead and said fearfully, What kind of demonic skill does Marshal Uncle Zhang cultivate? It gives off such a huge pressure. Then he glanced at the storage bag on his waist, and his eyes showed a hint of relief. The heavens allowed me to survive outside the abyss of death, and I also received a foundation establishment pill. After the mission is over, I have to choose an auspicious day to go into seclusion and see if I can enter the foundation establishment stage. After Lu Kuan left the southern mountain range, he didn't feel that he was being watched. Combined with Yuan Dezhu's words, the core formation cultivator in the entrance hall should be looking for him because of the blood demon. Soon, he entered the core mountain gate and came to the entrance hall. It was not the time to recruit disciples recently, so this place was quite deserted. There was only one Qi refining disciple guarding the door. When the low-level disciple heard that he was looking for Rong Shizu, he respectfully led Lu Kuan to the depths of the hall. As soon as he came to the door of the secret room, Lu Kuan felt a divine thought briefly scanning his body, and then an old voice came out. It turns out to be Zhang Yang. You brat have finished your seclusion. Not bad, your demonic power is extremely pure, come in. Hearing this, Lu Kuan showed a respectful expression and slowly walked into the secret room with the restriction opened. He saw a young man sitting cross-legged inside. This core formation cultivator surnamed Rong practiced some kind of cultivation method that maintained his body in the state of a 20-year-old. Junior Zhang Yang greets Uncle Master Rong. Master Rong waved his hand and said with satisfaction, 2 years ago, Elder Qian said that you passed the test of the Blood Demon Cave and obtained the Blood Demon Technique. I didn't believe it. Now that I see your pure demonic power, you really practiced the Blood Demon Technique. TSK, when I heard that you wanted to obtain the Blood Demon Technique, I didn't care. I didn't expect you to become the Blood Demon. Lu Kuan showed a little fear and said, Master Rong, I'm still a little scared of the scene in the Blood Demon Cave. Now that I think about it, I was really lucky. Master Rong shook his head. Little guy, you don't have to hide anything. Elder Qian also told me that you have the Mystic Thunder physique. Lu Kuan scratched his head and laughed dryly. Master Rong continued, I am Elder Qian's disciple. The 6 blood demons in the sect are all registered with me. They practice the same cultivation method as Elder Qian and rely on their clones to deal with miscellaneous matters. Other core formation cultivators wouldn't waste time on trifles. It seemed that because Lu Kuan was the blood demon, Master Rong simply revealed his identity. Lu Kuan coughed and said, I don't know why Master Rong called this disciple here. Master Rong smiled and said, You've been in seclusion for 2 years. Have you succeeded in cultivating the main ability of the blood demon technique? Lu Kuan hesitated and nodded. He slightly stimulated his blood demon power and emitted 50% of the blood demon power of an early foundation establishment cultivator. Coupled with the demon power of his muscles, his aura was no different from that of a middle foundation establishment cultivator. Master Rong's eyes lit up. Good, very good. I didn't expect you to have cultivated to 50%. As expected of the blood demon disciple appointed by Elder Qian. Give me your token. Lu Kuan complied and took off the token from his waist and handed it over. Master Rong took out another magic tool and shot rays of light at Lu Kuan's token. At the same time, he said, the blood demon disciple is a disciple that my blood refining sect has focused on cultivating. He is different from other foundation establishment cultivators. Now that you've officially entered the blood demon technique, you can use the sect token to go to the scripture cave and choose any 2 foundation establishment cultivation methods or secret technique. You should know that the top cultivation methods and secret techniques of the foundation establishment stage require at least 2,000 contribution points. After he finished speaking, he also finished casting and returned the token to Lu Kuan. I've already placed a mark on it. As long as you show it to the deacon disciples of the scripture cave, you can exchange it for 2 foundation establishment stage cultivation methods. According to your physique and talent, you can choose one of them. This technique is specially designed for demonic cultivators with Relingen. Although you've cultivated the blood demon technique, with the pure demon power of the blood demon technique, you can still activate the demonic thunder secret technique inside. Lu Kuan took the token and showed a grateful expression. Thank you for your guidance, Master Rong. Master Rong nodded and threw out a storage bag. The things inside are all for you. Your token's authority has been increased. You can use your contribution points to exchange for demon stones in the elixir room. When Lu Kuan heard the word demon stones, he was a little shocked. He couldn't help but ask, Master Rong, are you talking about the demon stones that can only be found in the Yuan secret realm? Chapter 674. Seeing that Lu Kuan was in a daze, Masters Junior Rong continued. You should know that there is a secret technique in the demonic blood technique called the demonic search technique. This secret technique can only search for places with dense demonic qi in the outside world. However, in the Yuan secret realm, it is the best guidance technique for the demon stone. Hearing this, Lu Kuan recalled the blood demon technique in his mind. Only then did he realize that he had only focused on cultivating demon qi and had skipped a few secret techniques. Masters Junior Rong said, every time we enter the Yuan secret realm, our sect will gather demon stones with the blood demon as the core. After all, the number of demon stones is related to the sect's high-end combat power for the next few hundred years. After hearing this, the scar on Lu Kuan's face trembled. He licked his lips and said, Masters Junior Rong, I've just entered the blood demon technique and am not familiar with the secret techniques. I'll take on more missions in the next few years to train my combat power. Masters Junior Rong looked at Lu Kuan's battle-thirsty eyes and recalled that he was the only one who survived in the Blood Mist Valley. He said with admiration, Then Zhang Yang, what kind of mission do you plan to take on? Lu Kuan smiled ferociously. Of course it's a mission to kill enemies in the West region. There are all kinds of people there and there are many sections. I can take advantage of the situation. Masters Junior Rong agreed. There are more than 10 demon sects in the West region. There are also many cultivation families. They often fight among themselves for cultivation resources. As long as you're careful, there shouldn't be any problems. Then he pondered and said, with your current token, there shouldn't be too many restrictions if you go to the mission hall to take on missions. Also, there are 2 life-saving talismans in the storage bag just now. It's enough for you to use. Go. The increase in your combat power will be of great help to the Yuan secret realm in 10 years. Lu Kuan said respectfully, "Thank you for your guidance, Masters Junior Rong. I'll take my leave." Looking at Lu Kuan's departing figure, Uncle Master Rong mumbled, "This lad's potential is not weak. To think that he could cultivate the blood demon technique to 50% of its powers. I have to let Master know." Lu Kuan left the entrance hall and probed into the storage bag thrown to him by Martial Uncle Rong with his divine sense. He sighed in his heart, the blood devil is indeed extraordinary. There are 2 complete sets of immortal treasures in this storage pouch. One is a level 1 spiritual immortal treasure, and the other is a level 2 immortal treasure. Looking at the demonic light on them, they are clearly immortal treasures of the demonic Tao. Combined with the demonic power of the demonic blood technique, they are extremely powerful. Apart from that, there are a dozen talismans. One of them was the Earth Elemental Barrier technique, and the other was a Wind Attribute talisman. They are all life-saving treasures. This is? Lu Kuan also discovered that there were 20 fist-sized black stones in the storage bag, which were emitting dense devil chi. It's actually a magic stone. Lu Kuan used his divine sense to carefully observe these black stones. Other than the difference in size, their overall aura was exactly the same as the Devil's Cave stones he had used before. The corner of Lu Kuan's mouth twitched. The Blood Devil only has 20 magic stones. The magic stone fragments I have used in the past 2 years, if converted to this size, would be worth at least 100 pieces. I just told that Martial Uncle Rong that there should be no problem returning to the Dead Sea in the name of a mission in the West Prefecture. I just don't know if there will be a core formation stage cultivator secretly following me. Thinking of this, Lu Kuan smiled. Suzy Hong has a dark spiritual root and is highly valued by Old Fiend Pang. It is understandable that there would be a core formation stage cultivator secretly protecting him. Although I have a Relling in talent, my importance is definitely not as high as Suzy Hong's. The blood refining sect is unlikely to waste a core formation stage cultivator protecting me. With this thought in mind, Lu Kuan turned into a ray of demonic light and flew towards the hidden scripture cave. After Martial Uncle Rong's reminder, he was somewhat enlightened. At this moment, the blood devil art had reached a bottleneck. He could try other demonic secret techniques to see if they could help him solve the problem. Moreover, Lu Kuan was quite interested in the true Devil Imperial Thunder secret art that he mentioned. When he first built his foundation, it was a fire attribute cultivation method. Later, after his cultivation base regressed, he comprehended the Imperial Thunder Body refining secret art through the Shangqing sect's Shangqing Imperial Thunder True Secret Art, and cultivated until the Bone Treasure stage. Now that he was cultivating a demonic technique, his blood was full of pure demonic power. After he solved the hidden problems in his body, he would definitely cultivate back to the lightning attribute. Therefore, the true Devil Imperial Lightning technique might give him a different kind of inspiration. While thinking, Lu Kuan arrived at the entrance of an underground cave. He showed the foundation establishment stage disciple guarding the entrance and walked in. The hidden scripture cave of the blood refining sect had 3 floors. The first floor was for foundation establishment stage technique. The second floor was for core formation stage technique. As for the deepest floor, it was for nascent soul stage techniques and above. The blood refining sect had been all-powerful in the state of Qi for so many years. Aside from the blood devil art, which was the top technique, there were countless other demonic techniques. Almost all of the disciples cultivated techniques from the hidden scripture cave. The interior of the hidden scriptures cavern was somewhat similar to the blood demon cave. There were 3 teleportation spell formations. Behind the teleportation spell formations sat a man and a woman. Both of them were emitting turbulent waves of demonic chi. They were both at the peak of the intermediate core formation stage. In front of the array sat a white-haired old man. He was holding a jade slip and reading it with great interest. This person's cultivation level was in the late foundation establishment stage. He was obviously a deacon disciple here. Lu Kuan was already used to the number of core formation stage disciples in the blood refining sect. He said to the old man, "Senior martial brother, disciple Zhang Yang is here to choose a secret technique." The old man raised his head and looked at Lu Kuan. His eyes flashed with a trace of surprise. He obviously noticed the pure demonic power on Lu Kuan's body. He paused for a moment, then waved his hand and said, "The leftmost array. I'll cast a spell and let you in." "Thank you, senior martial brother." Then, Lu Kuan was teleported out in a ray of light. Lu Kuan appeared in a cave filled with bookshelves. There were over 1,000 jade slips inside. In addition to cultivation techniques and divine abilities, there were also some secret techniques, spells, and knowledge. It was a dazzling array that was too much for the eyes to take in. At this moment, in addition to Lu Kuan, there were 7 or 8 other foundation establishment stage disciples in the scripture cave. They were all choosing cultivation technique. The jade slips here were restricted, so one could only see the general content and introduction. Lu Kuan had come here before to exchange for lightning-attributed spells, so he was naturally familiar with the process here. He picked up a jade slip on the table outside and briefly glanced at it. Then, he quickly walked to the second-last row of bookshelf. He directly took out a jade slip and read it. This jade slip was the true devil lightning controlling true art. After a short while, Lu Kuan's eyes revealed a pleasantly surprised look. Obviously, this cultivation technique was very helpful to him. The true devil lightning controlling true art was divided into 2 parts. One part described a type of spell called demonic thunder. This demonic thunder spell was created by an ancient demonic cultivator by combining lightning-attributed spells with demonic spells. The other part was about cultivating a special type of demonic power. Through this demonic power, one could stimulate the maximum power of the demonic thunder spell. The demonic thunder spell was more powerful than ordinary lightning-attributed spells. Furthermore, it had the ability to break through demonic spells. Its combat power was astonishing. The reason why Martial Uncle Rong recommended this cultivation technique was that with the pure demonic power of the demonic blood technique and Lu Kuan's mystic thunder physique, he could stimulate the demonic thunder spell and enhance Lu Kuan's strength. Lu Kuan directly grabbed the jade slip in his hand and walked to a nearby secret technique bookshelf. He took out a jade slip called the blood escape technique. Speaking of the blood escape technique, Lu Kuan had first obtained it from a core formation stage cultivator of the Wei country's 9 Spectres sect. However, the 9 Spectres sect's technique was somewhat incomplete. The blood refining sect's technique was even more exquisite. When he first came, he had his eyes on the blood escape technique. However, he didn't exchange for it because he wanted to accumulate contribution points. Chapter 675. In the chaotic ocean at the border of the Xiuan province of the Chu Kingdom, there was a tall and big man with a ferocious face controlling a flying magic tool in midair, flying towards the ocean of death. This person was Lu Kuan, who had just left Demon Spirit Island. 2 months ago, after Zhang Yang accepted 7 or 8 missions from the blood refining sect, he first entered the Western Plain. After staying there for half a month, he didn't find any core formation cultivators following him, so he secretly went to Demon Spirit Island. After meeting with Qin Yushu and the others, he found out that the body refining pavilion and treasure pavilion had been steadily developing in secret. They didn't attract the attention of any high-level cultivators. Xiao Jin, the demon monkey, and Dahe's black mountain apes were diligently cultivating in the demonic chi area of Demon Spirit Island. Their cultivation was gradually increasing, and Xiao Jin was still some time away from breaking through. However, there was unfortunate news. 3 years ago, Du Ruoqiao, the former Jade Sun Peak Lord of the Yang clan, failed in her second attempt to break through to core formation. Her lifespan dried up and she died. This made Zhu Xiaofeng sad for a long time. After Du Ruoqiao's death, Abyssal Island's treasure pavilion was guarded by Zhao Qingtian and the others. As disciples of the first generation of body cultivators, their refining techniques were still a bit lacking, so it was a good opportunity for them to hone their skills. As for Yu Yifeng and Song Ping Er, their lifespan was about to reach its end, so they focused all their remaining energy on their son, Yulin. 20 years ago, Yulin was accepted as a disciple by Qin Yushu and was now cultivating in the treasure pavilion. Yulin had a dual attribute spirit root, and his aptitude wasn't bad. In the past 20 years, he had already entered Foundation establishment and became the first generation of Treasure Pavilion's Foundation establishment disciples. In addition, over the years, Zhu Xiaofeng had recruited more than a dozen Treasure Tool Pavilion disciples with excellent aptitude, all of them cultivating in the Abyss Market's Treasure Tool Pavilion while practicing artifact refining. As the number of disciples increased, Zhu Xiaofeng intended to open another treasured tool pavilion in another market square. Because of his relationship with Du Ruoqiao, he was quite familiar with several core formation cultivators from the Spirit Transformation sect in the Western Yuan state. Over the years, although the Red Refining sect had recruited many low-level disciples, the Li brothers and many Foundation establishment disciples had died. Their influence had shrunk greatly, so the nearby Spirit Transformation sect naturally expanded. Zhu Xiaofeng was preparing to open a second treasure pavilion in the market of the Spirit Transformation sect. In this way, the second-generation disciples of the Body Refining Pavilion would have enough places to practice refining technique. Lu Kuan recalled the situation in the past few days and felt extremely emotional. Their number one enemy, the Miraculous Gate, was the Wei State, the Green Alliance, and the Heavenly Sword sect. The battle in the Central State was getting more and more intense. In addition, they had lost several core formation cultivators previously. After knowing that Lu Kuan had entered the core formation stage, they wouldn't easily send people over. The Devil's Den in the Blood Refining sect had also been dealt with, so there was no danger to Demon Spirit Island. Even if Lu Kuan wasn't there, Xiao Hongfei, Qin Yushu, and many other core formation cultivators were present. As long as the Treasure Pavilion and the Body Refining Pavilion secretly developed, it would naturally be extremely smooth. While thinking in his heart, Lu Kuan had already flown to the area of the Dead Sea. Searching for the location in his memory, he sank into the sea and successfully entered the Devil's Denver. The current Lu Kuan's muscles and blood were filled with demonic power. The dense demonic chi that made him feel oppressed before was now very intimate. "I'll collect some demon stones and try cultivating here," Lu Kuan thought as he walked deeper into the Devil's Denver. The reason he returned to the Devil's Den this time, in addition to collecting demon stones, was to test out the dense demonic chi here and see if it could allow his blood demonic power to make a breakthrough. Lu Kuan quickly arrived at the deepest part of the Devil's Den, where the Devil's Den was located. In addition to the Devil's Den, he also saw Tian Renjie's corpse. "I almost forgot. Senior apprentice brother Qin left this corpse here." After muttering to himself for a while, Lu Kuan walked over with a face full of curiosity. He stopped about 10 feet away from the corpse. After a few years, the upper body of this corpse had already rotted away, leaving only the lower body covered in purplish-black scales. Even from a distance of 10 feet, Lu Kuan could still feel the terrifying aura emanating from it. His eyes flashed with golden light as he tried to observe the flesh and blood inside through the gap in the corpse. Back then, even with the strength of his entire arm, he was still suppressed. Clearly, this leg with purplish-black scales was much stronger than his physical body. Maybe this is the body of an ancient demon. If I study it, it will definitely be useful for my body refining. Lu Kuan's eyes flashed with desire, but then he thought of something. His expression changed and he shook his head. No, the hidden danger in my body hasn't been solved yet. The demonic soul is still in the Yuan jade pendant. If there is a demonic soul hidden in this body, it will be troublesome. Although I have another jade pendant, I can't absorb the demonic soul in the flesh and blood. Otherwise, I could have absorbed the demonic soul in the beginning of the battle. After thinking about it, Lu Kuan still felt that after he solved the hidden danger in his body and obtained more information about the Yuan sect, he would study this incomplete body. After all, he could still enter and exit the body one last time with the disc in his hand. So Lu Kuan shifted his gaze to the ground of the cave. At this time, there were several pits on the ground. The largest pit still showed the light of the prohibition below. These pits were created by Lu Kuan after he transformed into the devil ape. The hundreds of gravel before came from here. After transforming into the devil ape, my strength should have more than doubled. With a terrifying strength of more than 400,000 jin, I was able to deal with the demon race. The rest of my strength was only able to smash the solid demon stone ground. Now that my blood essence has recovered by more than half, I can try to activate the divine arm technique here and see if I can break the ground. After Lu Kuan entered the bone treasure stage, the 50% increase in strength of the divine arm technique was extremely terrifying, but at the same time, it consumed a lot of spiritual power in the bone treasure stage. At this time, Lu Kuan's body also had a strength of 200,000 jin, but the energy in the body was only at the level of the foundation establishment stage. Thinking of doing it, Lu Kuan's eyes flashed with a golden light. He urged the blood essence in the body, and his arms slowly swelled under the mysterious force in the blood. At the same time, the magical power in the blood seemed to be stimulated by something, and it rushed to Lu Kuan's arms. At the same time, the remaining brutal thoughts in the bones were also ready to move. Lu Kuan's pupils shrank. At this time, it was too late to stop it. He could only activate the divine awareness concealment technique to hide his soul and avoid this brutal consciousness. In addition to the blood essence, it seemed that the blood in the whole body also gathered to his arms. A pale black light curtain appeared out of thin air outside Lu Kuan's arms, close to the skin, like a layer of protective membrane. Then his arms quickly swelled, and in the blink of an eye, they became as thick as thighs. Immediately after, Lu Kuan felt an itch on the skin of his arms. The tiny hairs on his arms and hands began to grow crazily, instantly turning into thick black hairs that were 1 foot long, just like the hairs of Big Black's black mountain ape. At this moment, the remaining brutal thoughts in the bones suddenly broke out. Lu Kuan's eyes suddenly became red. Although he had the divine awareness concealment technique, his body seemed to have another consciousness. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.